back on live broadcast. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and maayong hapon dakbayan sa Davao. Once again, welcome to the cluster training of teachers on the learning management system of the Department of Education, Division of Davao City for clusters 1 and 3. This is Christine Joy C. Cabahog of Davao City National High School, Cluster 1, your moderator for Day 2. For this afternoon's attendance link, we will now be flashing it on the screen. Controller, kindly flash the link on the screen now. Alam ko, ang dami-dami po natin naghihintay na mga viewers. We're actually reaching 574 and counting. There you go. That is the attendance link for Day 2 PM attendance. Let me just read it for you. It's http://tinyurl.com/letter H, small letter H, capital R, ASD12. Hindi man yun makuha ngayon, screenshot na po tayo. At the same time, key into the link right away. Thank you, Controller. The attendance link of the afternoon session will be until 3 p.m. I repeat, hanggang alas 3 lamang po ng hapon, open ang ating attendance link. To everyone watching right now, please do visit the link as soon as possible and fill it out completely. Being watch advocates, we are again reminded to value punctuality as a true Filipino because we always advocate time consciousness and honesty. Again, the attendance links have time limits and we'll be recognizing again our top 5 watch advocates. So, ano pang hinihintay nyo? Register na. Register na po tayong lahat. And also, reminder again, please use your complete name when you key in your attendance because if not, automatic na magdededuct ang number of hours in your certificate of participation. All right, at this juncture, by the way, for our Management of Learning or MOL for this afternoon, let us break the ice from an intermission number courtesy of F. Bangoy National High School. Kaya, everybody, galaw-galaw para mas sumigla pa ang ating pangalawang araw. Abante, Cluster 1 and Cluster 3. Controller, take it away.
Kung tayo ay matanda na, sana'y di tayo magbago. Kailanman, nasaan may ito ang pangarap ko. Makuha mo pa kayang ako'y hagan at yakapin. Hanggang sa pagtanda natin. Nagtatanong lang sa'yo, ako pa kaya'y ibigin mo? Kung maputi na ang buhok ko, pagdating ng araw, ang iyong buhok ay puputi na rin. Sabay tayong mangangarap ng nakaraan natin. Ang nakalipas ay babalik natin. Ipapaalala ko sa'yo ang aking pangako na ang pag-ibig ko'y laging sa'yo. Kahit maputi na ang buhok ko. ipapaalala ko sa'yo ang aking pangako na ang pag-ibig ko'y lagi sa'yo kahit maputi na ang buhok ko kahit maputi na ang buhok ko.
Wow, that was a very beautiful intermission number courtesy of F. Bangoy National High School. Talagang ang sarap sa ears, mga kaibigan. Nakaka-LSS, di ba? Even ako kumakanta ako behind the screen. Anyway, thank you very much, Sir Rolando R. Couple Principal, together with your team from F. Bangoy National High School for leading this afternoon's Management of Learning. Now, moving forward, eto na naman ang pinikahihintay ng lahat. Here is the much-awaited announcement of the top 5 Day 2 p.m. Watch Advocates of the Cluster Training of Teachers on the Learning Management System for Clusters 1 and 3. Ako, sino-sino na naman kaya yung ating mga top 5 Watch Advocates this time? So, hindi natin patatagalin pa. May I call again on the screen on behalf of the Principal 2 of F. Bangoy National High School, Sir Rolando R. Capel. We now have on the screen Sir Ronnie Herbalingo. Sir Ronnie, the head teacher of F. Bangoy. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Again to the teacher participants of clusters 1 and 3, and also to the school heads of different schools under these clusters. Now, this afternoon, I am going to announce the 5 first attendees for this for the morning session. The first attendee will receive a Globe Wi-Fi modem from the host school, and the price will be claimed at their respective school heads. The remaining 4 will receive a load cards worth 100 pesos each. Now we have for the first to enter the seminar room is Miss Hannah May Hontong of Bernardo D. Carpio National High School. She will be receiving a Globe Wi-Fi modem from the host school, and this will be claimed at the by your principal. Then second is Miss Arlene Ibanez from Santa Ana National High School, followed by Hope Joy Gonzalez from Bernardo Di Carpio National High School, and Crystal Jet Di Castro from Gorgonio Tahoe Senior National High School, and the last one is Mr. Arnel Jeff Tulabing from F. Bangoy National High School. Congratulations to the winners.
Wow. Congratulations. And thank you very much. That was Sir Ronnie Herbalingo, head teacher of F. Bangoy National High School, for the announcement of our top 5 Day 1 p.m. Watch Advocates. Okay. Day 2. Sorry. Day 2 p.m. Watch Advocates. Okay. By the way, for the top 1 of the morning sessions for Watch Advocate, will be receiving again, papakita ko ulit, this prepaid home Wi-Fi kit courtesy of our very generous sponsors. And thank you very much as well for our sponsors. Talagang hindi nila talagang open sa kanilang mga hearts to give these kinds of gadgets for us to open for the new normal for the classes. And also we all have here the prepaid cards courtesy of our sponsors as well. So congratulations to our top 5 Watch Advocates for Day 2 a.m. That's Ma'am Hannah May D. Huntong of Bernardo D. Carpio National High School, Ma'am Arlene M. Ibanez Santa Ana National High School, Ma'am Hope Joy Gonzalez of Bernardo D. Carpio National High School, and Ma'am Crystal Jet A. De Castro of Gorgonio, Tahoe Senior National High School, and last but not the least, Sir Arnold Jeff S. Tulabing of F. Bangboy National High School. Congratulations to our top 5 watch advocates. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we will be listening again to our invited school heads and selected head teachers who will be discussing the second half of the most essential learning competencies or MELCs for the learning areas. And this afternoon, we will have a walkthrough of the MELCs, courtesy of, first, we'll be having Araling Panlipunan. Let us call on screen Dr. Ruel Alvarez, Principal 4 of Santa Ana National High School. Sir Ruel, good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, Christine.
Yes, sir. How are you po?
Okay lang po. Thank
Right.
you for your short introduction. To all teacher participants of Cluster 1 and 3, especially our Araling Panlipunan teachers, it is my privilege to give unpacking clarifications about the very important learning competencies, as I am going to deliver for your clear basis and references. Bago ako magsimula sa aking presentasyon sa asignatura ng Araling Panlipunan, nais ko munang batiin ang lahat ng isang mapayapa at magandang araw. Sa ating napipitagang mga DepEd official sa Department of Education na pinangungunahan ni Regional Director Madam Evelyn Fitalvero ng Davao City, Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Reynaldo Guilena, Assistant Schools Division Superintendents Dr. Basilio Manaay Jr. at Dr. Emma Camporidondo, Curriculum Implementation Division Chief Dr. Alma Cifra, Schools Governance and Operations Division Chief Dr. Teresita Del Valle. Sa aking mga kapwa punong guro at sa mga guro sa kagawaran ng edukasyon at sa lahat ng bumubuo ng gawaing ito, muling binabati ko po kayong isang magandang araw. The Department of Education releases the most essential learning competencies, or MELCs, to be used nationwide for the academic year 2020-2021. This set of MELCs is not just a response to address the challenges of the times, but will also enable department to focus on instruction to the most essential and indispensable competencies that our learners must acquire. Thus, the MELCs serves as the primary reference of all schools in determining and implementing learning delivery approaches that are suited to the local context and diversity of learners while adapting to the challenges caused by the current pandemic. Paano nga ba natukoy ang mga most essential learning competencies na ito? Tingnan natin ang diagram na naglalarawan sa kasaysayan sa pagbuo ng MELC sa Araling Panlipunan. Una, nagkaroon ng curriculum review. Ang ating mga dalubhasa ay sinuri ng maigi ang curriculum mula sa elementarya hanggang sa sekundarya. Pinag-aralan ang curriculum guide, gayon din ang curriculum standard, kung saan napapaloob ang learning competencies. Mula sa learning competencies, nabuo ang essential learning competencies. At mula naman sa essential learning competencies, nabuo ang most essential learning competencies. Ano-ano nga ba ang mga basihan sa pagkabuo ng most learning competencies or most essential learning competencies? Una, kinakailangan na ang most essential learning competencies ay lifelong learning. Kinakailangan din ito ay buo, malinaw, at may malawak na kaalaman. Higit sa lahat, ito ay naayon sa pamantayang pangnilalaman at pamantayan sa pagganap. Bakit nabuo ang MELCs? Una, upang matulungan ang mga guro na matukoy ang mga mahalagang pamantayang pampagkatuto upang sa gayon ay mabigyan ito ng prioridad. Pangalawa, maging batayan sa kanilang mga desisyon instructional at hindi upang palitan ang kasalukuyang curriculum guide. Tingnan natin ang kabuuang bilang ng pamantayang pagkatuto sa Araling Panlipunan mula grade 1 hanggang grade 10. Sa kasalukuyan, mayroon tayong tinatawag na 253 Most Essential Learning Competencies. Ang Most Essential Learning Competencies ay mula sa 336 na tinatawag natin na Essential Learning Competencies. Ito naman ay galing sa 507 na competencies mula sa ginagamit nating curriculum guide. Mula sa 507 patungo sa 336 na essential competencies, mayroong 171 na learning competencies na nawala o di kaya'y isinama sa ibang competencies o binago. Mula naman sa 336 learning competencies, nagkaroon na lamang tayo ngayon ng 253 learning competencies na saan ang 83 na essential learning competency. Ito ay posibleng pinalitan din o di kaya isinama sa kapwa essential competencies. Tingnan naman natin ang isa pang datos kung saan ipinakita ang pagbabago ng mga learning competencies patungong most essential learning competencies sa bawat taon. Halimbawa, sa unang taon o sa unang grado, noong mayroong 63 na learning competencies mula sa curriculum guide. Ngunit, binawasan ito o di kaya tinanggal o pinag-isa upang mabuo ang tinatawag nating essential learning competencies. Mula sa 63 learning competencies, naging 31 na lamang ito. At naging 29 na lamang ito na most essential learning competencies. Sa makatuwid, may dalawang essential learning competencies na pinag-isa at tinanggal. Ito naman ay mga datos na nagpapakita ng porsyento ng learning competencies at essential learning competencies na nabago, pinag-isa, o natanggal. Halimbawa, sa baitang isa, ang current learning competencies natin ay 63 at ang essential learning competencies natin ay 31. Sa kasalukuyan, mayroon tayong 29 most essential learning competencies. Sa makatuwid, mula sa learning competencies patungong essential learning competencies, mayroon tayong 50.79% na mga learning competencies na tinanggal o pinagsama. Gayon din sa essential learning competencies patungong most essential learning competencies na kung saan mayroon tayong 3.18% na mga competencies na tinanggal o pinagsama. Ano-ano nga ba ang mga pananda upang pag-isahin, tanggalin, o ibahin ang mga anyo ng ating mga learning competencies? Pag sinabi nating retained, itinuring na napaka-essential ang learning competencies. Ibig sabihin, di na kailangan i-revise o walang pagbabago. Tulad ng makikita natin sa K-12 curriculum guide. Pag sinabi naman nating merged, ang mga learning competencies na ito ay magkakaugnay, magkakahalintulad o bahagi ng isang paksa na pinag-isa na lamang sa pamamagitan ng pagbubuo ng panibagong learning competencies. Kung i-rephrase naman natin, ito ay sumasailalim sa pagpapalit ng learning verb o di kaya ng salitang o grupo ng mga salita upang gawing tiyak, malinaw at komprehensibo ang naturang competencies. Kapag ito ay subsumed, magkakaugnay, magkakahalintulad o bahagi ng isang paksa na nakapaloob sa isang independent competencies. Kung ito naman ay tinanggal, ang ibig sabihin nito na hindi isinama sa ibang uri ng competency dahil hindi ito essential at ang pagkakatanggal nito ay halos walang epekto sa pagkakamit ng pamantayang pangnilalaman at pagganap. Upang mas lalo nating maintindihan kung bakit pinag-isa ang magkaparehong mga competencies, gayon din ang ugnayan ng most essential learning competencies sa tinatawag nating pamantayan sa pagkatuto, pamantayan sa nilalaman, o kaya sa pagganap. Ito naman ang competency ng sekundarya mula sa curriculum guide na kinapapalooban ng grade 7, 81, grade 8, 43, grade 9, 82, grade 10, 42. Bunsod sa sitwasyong dulot ng pandemya, nabawasan at pinagsama ang mga magkaparehong competency batay sa pinaka-essential para sa mga mag-aaral o tinatawag nating MELCs. Ang MELCs sa grade 7 ay 30, sa grade 8, 24, sa grade 9, 26, sa grade 10, 17 na lamang. Tingnan natin ang mga competencies na pinagsanib, pinag-isa, tinanggal o nanatili ayon sa mga nabanggit kong mga batayan. Sa grade 7, ang pamantayang pangnilalaman ay naipamamalas ng mga mag-aaral ang pag-unawa sa ugnayan ng kapaligiran at tao sa paghubog ng sinaunang kabihas ng Asyano. Ibig sabihin, sa grade 7, dapat mabuo lamang sa isipan ng mga mag-aaral na may kaugnayan ang tao sa kanilang paligid sa paghubog ng sinaunang kabihas ng Asyano. Sa pamantayan sa pagganap naman ay kailangang napag-uugnay-ugnay ng ating mga mag-aaral ang mga bahaging ginagampanan ng kapaligiran at tao sa paghubog sa sinaunang kabihas ng Asyano. Dahil dito, tinanggal ang competency na nakakagawa ng pangkalahatang profile ng heograpiya ng Asya, sapagkat maaari na itong isama sa unang competency. Gayon din sa grade 8, na ang ilan sa mga competency ay pinag-isa, mayroon ding nanatili at mayroon ding binago. Sa grade 9, gayon din, mula sa content standard at performance standard, may pinag-isang learning competencies. Mula sa competency, 1 hanggang 4, ay magkapareho lamang ito na maaaring makabuo ng isang learning competency. Sa grade 10, dapat bigyang diin lamang ng mga mag-aaral ang kahalagahan ng pakikilahok sa gawaing pansibiko tungo sa pagkakaroon ng pamayanan at pambansang kaunlaran. Dahil dito, ilan sa mga competency natin ay pinag-isa at pinaikli. Mula sa core specialized subject sa senior high school, sa grade 11, ang content standard ay may sagawa ng mag-aaral ang social differences, social changes, at political identities. Kasama ang kahalagahan sa pag-aaral ng kultura, pamayanan at politika, antropolohiya, agham, pampolitika, at sosyolohiya. Upang matumbok ang pinakamahalagang konsepto, maaring i-rephrase na lamang ang pangalawang competency. At ang unang competency ay maaari nang hindi gagamitin ng guro. Dahil sa pangalawang competency, kung saan pinabago lamang ang anyo para maituring na pinaka-esensyal na kasanayan. Sa grade 12 naman, binibigyang diin dito ang konteksto ng iba't ibang relihiyon. Habang ang pamantayan sa pagganap, inaasahan ang mga mag-aaral na makagawa ito ng makabuluhang pangkatang gawain na nagpapakita at naglalahad ng paksa ukol sa impluensya ng relihiyon mula sa isang kultura. Kaya pinag-isa na ang mga sumusunod na competency. Kaya maaari nating tanggalin ang unang competency. Paano gamitin ang MELCs sa pagtuturo? Alam natin na may mga competency na hindi maaaring ituro sa loob ng 2 araw. Kaya ang mga guro ay nagsasagawa ng unpacking of learning competency para sa mas mapaintindi at mapaabot sa mga mag-aaral ang pinakamahalagang detalye ng paksa na nakasaad ito sa mga learning objectives. Layunin nito na mahimay-himay o masimplify ang most essential learning competencies. Ang retained learning competency ay nasasabi ang batayang impormasyon tungkol sa sariling pangalan, magulang, kaarawan, edad, tirahan, paaralan, at iba pang pagkakainlanlan at mga katangian bilang Pilipino. Ang halimbawa ng mga learning objectives ay natutukoy ang buong pangalan na isusulat ang pangalan ng magulang, na ilalarawan ang tirahan at nasasabi ang kompletong pangalan ng paaralan. Ang mga learning objectives na ito ay nakasaad sa DLL or DLP. Sa loob ng daily lesson log, makikita dito kung paano na isasagawa ng guro ang unpacking na dapat matumbok ang most essential competencies or most essential learning competencies. Dahil di sapat ang isang araw na maituro sa mga mag-aaral ang most essential learning competency, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng mga learning objectives. May mga MELCs na masyadong malawak na kailangang himay-himayin. Pakatandaan natin mga kasamahan ko sa Araling Panlipunan na ang ating dedikasyon, kapanatagan, kasanayan, at pagmamahal sa ating propesyon ay maging sandata natin sa pagtugon sa pandemyang kinahaharap ngayon sa buong mundo. Huwag mawalan ng pag-asa na kahit tayo ay nakaranas ng malaking dagok, patuloy tayo sa serbisyong may puso para sa mga kabataang itinuturing pag-asa ng bayan. Mahalaga ang gampanin ng Araling Panlipunan sa paglikha ng lipunang aral na siyang pinapangarap natin maging lipunang iral sa bansang Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang Araling Panlipunan, mabuhay ang Department of Education Division of Davao City. Ako po ay si Riwel A. Alvarez, punong guro ng Santa Ana National High School. Salamat po.
Daghang salamat and thank you very much. That was Dr. Ruel Alvarez, Principal 4 of Santa Ana National High School, for giving us a walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies in Araling Panlipunan. At this point, moving on to the next learning area. Para naman sa edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, the MELCs of ESP. Courtesy of Mr. Rolando R. Capul, Principal to F. Bangoy National High School, to be represented by Ma'am Jenny Pearl Nino Nuevo, Head Teacher 3 of the ESP Department of Davao City National High School. Let's call in on screen, Ma'am Pearly. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, team. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to greet all of you a good day, especially our colleagues who are working at home. It's the second day of our cluster-wide training of clusters 1 and 3 for the learning management system, and we are airing here from the office of the PSDS, Dr. Winifredo E. Cagape. I will reintroduce to you the most essential learning competencies of edukasyon sa pagpapakatao for grades 7 and 10. The operative word here is reintroduce. And why is that? Because I know that everybody is very familiar with the MELCs. But before we embark on our monumental task, on August 24, it wouldn't hurt to listen again and maybe pick up more pieces of information that we weren't able to grasp during the first or second time we watched the webinar, or maybe the third time. I believe that most of you even rerun the webinars that are available at YouTube and all other media platforms because you wanted to fully comprehend and find methods to embrace the new normal approaches of our educational system in this time of the pandemic. So at this juncture, I will be playing excerpts of videos taken from the national training to unpack the MELCs of ESP, which showcases how they thoroughly reclassified and merged the essential learning competencies to become what we now follow as the most essential learning competencies. Sir?
Mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. So, ang aking tatalakayin ay paano pinili ang mga most essential learning competencies sa ESP. Lahat po ng asignatura ay sinunod ang prosesong ito. Una, nagkaroon po kami ng curriculum review mula noong 2019. At naging resulta po ng curriculum review ay ang pag-uuri ng essential at desirable learning competencies ng mga na nasa curriculum guide na naka-upload dated May 2016. Pagkatapos po niyan ay sinuri namin ang mga katangian ng mga learning competencies na to. Kung ito, ang bawat isa ay sinusunod ang mga criteria ng essential or desirable. Pagkatapos po, dahil sa basic na ito, ay kinakailangang bisitahin muli ang mga learning competencies, mga pinili naming essential learning competencies para maging most essential learning competencies. Pansinin na sa baitang 1 hanggang 6, binawasan lamang ang bilang ng mga learning competencies, samantalang sa junior high school, binawasan ang mga pag-akit. Yan ang tatalakayin sa susunod. Okay. So ano po yung mga essential learning competencies? So babasahin ko lang ng mabilisan. Unang katangian, sinasalamin nito ang mga pambansang kamantayan sa pagkatuto. May kaugnayan ito sa mga mahalagang konsepto sa ibang asignatura na ilalapat sa buhay. Lubhang mahalagang pag-aralan nila ito kung ikukumpira sa ibang learning competency, lalo na kung titigil sila sa pag-aaral sa susunod na taon, at sa paaralan lamang ito matututuhan kung hindi nila ito matutuhan sa mga magulang at komunidad. So, ano naman po yung mga desirable learning competency? Kapag kulang o walang katangian ng mga essential learning competency, minabuti po namin tukuyin ito bilang, uriin ito bilang desirable learning competency. So, mahalaga pong paunawa, binawasan lamang ang bilang ng mga learning competency sa paksa hanggang 6 at ang bilang ng mga paksa sa junior high school, ngunit hindi ang mensahe o esensya ng mga paksa o learning competency. So, ano po yung mga batayan sa pagpili ng mga MELC? Una, siyempre po yung criteria, yung developmental task ni Robert Habibers, mga pamantayan sa pagkatuto ng ESP at istruktura ng curriculum. Ang kaisa-isang criteria sa pagpili ng mga MELC ay endurance na talagang pangmatagalan. Ibig sabihin kahit graduate na sila, ano pa man ang kanilang profesyon o piniling curriculum exit, yung po ay mananatili sa kanila at magiging bahagi ng kanilang pagkatao. Meron din po kaming mga dalawa pang sinaalang-alang. Yan po yung readiness for the next level of learning. Ibig sabihin, may taglay na prerequisite sa susunod na antas ng pagkatuto at leverage o may maximum na pakinabang. So, ano po ang isang ikatlong batayan ng pagpili ay yung mga pamantayan sa pagkatuto. Bawat baitang ay may pangkalahatang pamantayan ayon sa kalikasan ng asignatura. At batay dyan sa pangkalahatang pamantayan, binuo po ang pamantayang panglalaman o content standard at pamantayan sa pagganap o performance standard. So ano po yung sinasagot ng tanong na pamantayang panglalaman? Ang tanong po ay ano ang dapat malaman at maunawaan sa paksa ng mag-aaral? Kailangan naunawaan niya, no? Ang paksang iyon. So, paano natin malalaman na naunawaan yun? Kailangan may maipakita siyang patunay o ebidensya ng pag-unawa gamit ang produkto, tangible output, o pagpapamalas ng mga kasanayan or demonstration of skills. At ito ang pamantayan sa pagganap. Okay. Mapapansin nyo na sa ESP po, hindi tayo biglang pumalaot sa mga kasanayan sa pagkatuto. Kasi bago po mabuo yung 4 na yan, sa bawat paksa po ng ESP, lagi may 4 na learning competency o kasanayan sa pagkatuto. Ano po ang nagdikta o nag-drive o naggabay dun sa 3 sa 4 na yun? Yun po yung ikatlong learning competency at yan po ang nandun po nakapaloob sa ikatlong learning competency ang batayang konsepto o essential understanding. Napakahalaga na maunawaan nila yung kahalagahan ng bawat paksa. No? Hindi lamang kailangan ay gagawa sila ng activity o malalaman nila ang isang pagkakahalaga, pero bakit? Ano ang epekto nito sa pagkatao nila? Okay? So, ang ika-4 po na batayan ay istruktura ng curriculum. Sa bawat baitang po mula ika-7 hanggang ika-10, meron pong 16 na paksa. Okay? So sa bawat paksa po niyan, mayroong 4 na uri, iba't ibang uri ng kasanayan. No? Batay sa 6 na kasanayan sa cognitive process dimensions na nakapaloob sa DepEd Order number 8. Okay? Now, ano po itong 4 na competencies na to mula grade 7 hanggang 10? So, tumungo tayo dito po sa ikatlo. No? Ito yung una namin binubuo. Ang iba sa inyo dyan, merong 2 o 3 supervisor na kasama namin nagbuo ng curriculum na to. No? So yung ikatlo ang pinakamahalaga dahil dito nakapaloob ang batayang konsepto. Ano ang pinakamahalagang mensahe na dapat maunawaan ng mag-aaral? Halimbawa sa paksa ng isip at kilos loob, anong dapat take away nila para ano man ang gawin nila pag naalala nila yun? Kung patungo sa katotohanan at kabutihan nila. Although napakadaling sabihin po. Ano? So ang nililinang nakasanayan nito ay comprehension and synthesis. sa dating Bloom's taxonomy. Pagkatapos kung nabuo yung ikatlo, tungo tayo sa ikaapat, anong katunayan o patunay na naunawaan niya yung batayang konsepto, pinakamahalagang mensahe. Dapat po ay ano ang dapat maipamalas ng mag-aaral bilang patunay ng pag-unawa. Ano dapat niya isagawa o ano dapat niya gawin. Pagkatapos pag nabuo na yung ikatlo at ikaapat, ay ano naman ang kaalaman na kailangan upang maipamalas ng mag-aaral ng pag-unawa. So mahihimay po itong batayang konsepto, tatanungin ng guro at ng curriculum writer, instructional materials writer, ano dapat niyang knowledge o kaalaman, no, na dapat niyang matandaan tungkol sa paksang ito. And finally, yung ikalawa, so yung huli talagang sinusulat at mapanghamon, no, na isulat ito, anong kasanayan ang dapat na ipamalas tungo sa pag-unawa. At dito po ang tatlong Bloom's taxonomy skills in comprehension, analysis, at evaluation. Okay. Ito po ay mabilis kong tatalakayin. Although nandun na nakapaloob po ito sa mga module na binuo namin sa Bureau of Curriculum Development, sa ESP. No? So, anong katangian ng batayang konsepto, essential understanding? Tandaan niyo lang yung EDUC na acronym. No? E stands for endurance. So, ito po talaga ay tugma doon sa MELC criterion. Sa batayang konsepto pa lang, endurance, pang-matagalan o pang-habang buhay. Kailangan na mag-aaral ang LC na ito kahit tapos siya sa pag-aaral. Mailalapat na ito sa mga konkretong sitwasyon ng buhay sa namang profesyon o curriculum ethic na pipiliin niya. Hindi ito maaaring maanod sa pagbabago ng panahon. Ano naman yung D o discipline base? Batay sa mga disiplina sa dalawang batayang disiplina ng ESP. Nakaangkla mga batayang konsepto sa etika at career guidance. Ang expert system of knowledge na itinahayag nito ay nangangailangan ng matibay na batayan mula sa malalim na pag-aaral o pag-isip. Ibig sabihin po, yung mga batayang konsepto ay hindi opinion lamang o should o truth. Ito po talaga ay talagang pinag-isipan at ini-research at binet at tinignan ng consultants namin, na philosophy professors po. And then, yung ikatlo, needs and coverage. May nakapaloob na mga konsepto. Ibig sabihin, malaki pa siya na pwede pa siyang himay-himayin. Kaya, mula sa batayang konsepto to third competency, nahugot po namin yung una at ikalawang learning competency. And finally, potentially engaging, mapupukang nitong interest, atensyon, at pakikilahok ng mga mag-aaral. Tulad ng binanggit ko kanina, mayroong 16 na paksa sa bawat baitang sa junior high school. At sa ika-10 baitang, narito ang paglatag ng mga pag-uuri na ginawa namin. No? Kung matatandaan nyo, dun sa matrix ng mga tema, sa bawat baitang, mula ika-7 hanggang ika-10, ay ang una at ikalawang markahan sa junior high school ay nakatuon sa mga foundation topics, no? Na nakaangkla sa content standard. Okay. Yung ikatlo sa bawat baitang ay sa ikatlong markahan sa bawat baitang nakatuon sa mga pagpapahalaga na dapat linangin sa baitang ayon sa tema nito. Samantalang yung ika-4 na markahan, nakatukoy ito sa pagpapasyang moral. No? So dito sa ika-10 baitang, napakahalaga nito kasi nakatuon to sa mga issue moral. Now, ang unang paksa, isip at kilos loob, meron siyang 4 na learning competency. Lahat nito ay pinanatili. Bakit? Dahil kailangan sa pagpapasyang moral at pangmatagalan. Halimbawa, yung ikatlo, dapat ito ikatlo, no? Nakatutunayan na ang isip at kilos loob ay ginagamit para lamang sa paghahanap ng katotohanan at sa paglilingkod pagmamahal. Yan po ay pinanatili namin. Makikita nyo sa ika-4 na hanay, no? Na yun pa rin ang learning competencies tulad ng kasama nitong tatlo. Ngayon, ikalawang paksa, pagtubog ng konsensya batay sa likas na batas moral, muli ang 4 na learning competencies nun ay pinanatili. Yung ika-anim na ito, yung paghubog ng konsensya batay sa likas na batas moral ay pinanatili rin ito, no? Ganon din yung ikatlo. So, halimbawa, sa ikatlo, yung apat na learning competencies tungkol sa kalayaan, yung ikatlong LC na patutunayan na ang tunay na kalayaan ay ang kakayahang tumugon sa tawag ng pagmamahal at paglilingkod. So, lahat po niyan, yung ikatlo at saka yung kasama niya pa iba ay lahat pinanatili dahil kailangan sa pagpapasyang moral at tumutugon sa pangmatagalan na kriteria. Yung ika-apat na paksa, paghubog ng konsensya batay sa likas na batas moral, lahat po ay pinanatili. Sa ikalawang markahan naman, nakatuon to sa makataong kilos. So yung unang paksa, ang pagkukusa ng makataong kilos, at ang ikalawang paksa, mga salik na nakakaapekto sa pananagutan ng tao sa kahinatnan ng kilos at pasya, lahat po yan ay pinanatili. No? Halimbawa, yung unang learning competency dun sa ika-anim na paksa, na paliliwanag ang bawat salik na nakaapekto sa pananagutan ng tao sa kahinatnan ng kanyang kilos at pasya, mapapansin nyo na pinanatili siya. Nandun pa rin siya sa talaan ng MELC, sa huling hanay. Sa ikapitong paksa, mga yugto ng makataong kilos, lahat din ito. Ganun din sa ikawalong paksa, yung huling paksa sa ikalawang markahan, pinanatili din. Bakit? Dahil kailangan sa pagpapasyang moral. So ito ang paksang layunin, paraan at sirkumstansya ng makataong kilos. O kaya, sa English, yung determinants of morality, no? Halimbawa, sa ika-apat na learning competency, nakapagtatayan ng kabutihan o kasamaan ng kilos sa isang sitwasyong may dilema batay sa layunin, paraan at sirkumstansya nito. So, makikita nyo na ang patunay ng pag-unawa niya doon sa tatlong determinants ng morality ay kailangan niyang maipakita sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaya ng moralidad ng kilos sa isang konkretong sitwasyon. Tatlong markahan naman, mga pangunahing virtud at pagpapahalagang moral. Mapapansin nyo na sa ika-siyam na paksa o unang paksa sa unang markahan, pagmamahal sa Diyos, ito po ay napakahalaga lalo na sa panahon nito. Kaya lahat po yan ay pinanatili namin. Halimbawa, sa LC, yung ika-apat, yung application o yung ebidensya ng pag-unawa na kagagawa ng angkop na kilos upang mapaunlad ang pagmamahal sa Diyos. Kahit hindi binanggit dito yung pagmamahal sa kapwa, ito ay naipakita na, lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya, na pinapakita ng ating mga frontliners. No? Ngayon, yung ika-sampu, mapapansin nyo, ay isinantabi. Bakit? Kasi po, ito ay tatandaan na yung ikatlong markahan, nakatuon ito sa mga pangunahing virtud o pagpapahalagang moral. At ang ika-apat ay tungkol sa mga isyong moral. Okay? Ngayon, itong paggalang sa buhay ay may kaugnay na paksa sa ika-apat na markahan. Yung paksa ay 13, mga issue tungkol sa paglabag sa buhay. No? So, mapapansin nyo bakit ito isinantabi kasi minabuti naming palutangin yung learning competency na nakatuon sa issue moral. So, doon po sa MELC na nanatili, although isinantabi, lagay namin yung unang LC sa paggalang sa buhay, ay pinanatili namin yung ika-13.1 na LC, no? Natutukoy ang mga gawaing taliwas sa kasagraduhan ng buhay. Tumungo na tayo dun sa ikalawang LC ng paggalang sa buhay. Natutukoy ang mga paglabag. Ito po ay isinama na sa 13.2, yung ikalawang learning competency tungkol sa mga issue sa paglabag sa buhay. So ang lumutang po, ang pinanatili namin ay nasusuri ang mga gawaing taliwas sa kasagraduhan ng buhay. Susunod na slide. Okay. Ito po ay mapapansin nyo, no, na sa ikatlong LC, sa paksang paggalang sa buhay, ito po siya, napangangatwiranan na mahalaga ang buhay dahil kung wala ang buhay, hindi mapapahalagahan ang mas mataas na pagpapalaga kaysa buhay, di makakamit ang higit na mahalaga kaysa buhay. Ngayon, since ito po ay isinama o minerge namin sa 13.3 sa mga isyong moral tungkol sa buhay, narito na po ang buong MELC na pangangatwiranan na okay, mahalaga ang buhay dahil kung wala ang buhay, hindi mapahalaga ng mas mataas na pagpapahalaga kaysa buhay, di makakamit ang higit na mahalaga kaysa buhay. So, ito po yung batayang konsepto dito sa ikatlong learning competency sa paksang paggalang sa buhay. Ngayon, bakit kami may nagkaroon ng ikalawang batayang konsepto? Narito po siya. Ang pagbuo ng posisyon tungkol sa mga issue sa buhay bilang kaloob ng Diyos ay kailangan upang mapatibay ang ating pagkilala sa kanyang kadakilaan at kapangyarihan at kahalagahan ng tao bilang nilalang ng Diyos. Mamaya ipapakita natin, babalikan po natin dahil itong bagong batayang konsepto dito sa MELC na ito ay makikita po sa diwa ng nasa 13.3 na learning competency kung saan nakapaloob ang batayang konsepto. Okay. Sa patuloy ng ikatlong markahan, pagmamahal sa bayan. Pinanatili po namin dahil mahalagang elemento sa pagpapakatao at pangmatagalan ito. At ayon sa research na ginawa ng NCCA, Culture and Arts po, na katuwang ang NEDA, sa 11 pagpapahalaga, ito po sa isa sa mga pinakamababa natin. No? Okay, so napakahalagang panatilihin po natin yan. Halimbawa, sa ikatlong learning competency na pangangatwiranan na nakaugat ang pagkakakilanlan ng tao sa pagmamahal sa bayan, hindi ka global citizen pag di ka mamamayan. At mapapansin nyo po na pinanatili namin yan. Ganon din ang ika-apat na LC nito, nakagagawa ng ang kilos upang maipamalas ang pagmamahal sa bayan. Ngayon, ito po yung pangalawang tandem o pair ng paksa na pinagsama namin. No? So yung pangangalaga sa kalikasan, nasa ikatlong markahan, at yung mga issue tungkol sa kalikasan at paggamit ng kapangyarihan na nasa ika-apat na markahan. Okay. So, pansinin niyo po dito, sa unang markahan, ay, sa unang hanay, na ang unang learning competency po ay nakapagpapaliwanag ng kahalagahan ng pangangalaga sa kalikasan. Bakit? Kasi po nakatuon ito sa mga pagpapahalaga at virtud na nakatuon sa tema ng ika-10 baitang. Pero dito po, bakit naging natutukoy ang mga issue tungkol sa paggamit ng kapangyarihan at pangangalaga sa kalikasan? Kasi nga, pinagsama o minerge po ang isang paksa tungkol sa kalikasan sa ikatlong markahan at isa pang paksa na kaugnay sa ika-apat na markahan. Sa pagitan po ng mga pagpapahalaga, mga pag-unawa sa pagpapahalaga at mga issue, mas mahalaga po yung mga issue dahil gagamitin din nila ang mga kaalaman nila sa mga pagpapahalaga sa pag-resolve ng issue nila. Kaya yun po ang nanatili na MELC. Okay. Ang susunod po ay sa 12, sa 12.3, ito po, makikita nyo na pinagsama na yung LC 10.3 at 12.3. So ito na po ang in-enhance o binago na MELC, no? na tungkol sa batayang konsepto. Na pangangatwiranan na maisusulong ang kaunlaran at kabutihan panlahat kung ang lahat ng tao ay may paninindigan sa tamang paggamit ng kapangyarihan at pangangalaga sa kalikasan. At niretain po yung tatlong batayang konsepto na nasa LC 10.3. So, ano po yun? Tungkol sa kalikasan. Lahat tayo ay mamamayan ng isang mundo dahil nabubuhay tayo sa isang kalikasan o Mother Nature. Ikalawa, inutusan tayo ng Diyos na alagaan ng kalikasan, stewards, at hindi maging tagapagdomina para sa susunod na henerasyon. At ang ikatlo, na galing dun sa paksa tungkol sa pangangalaga sa kalikasan, binubuhay tayo ng kalikasan. Noon po sa ika-4 na learning competency, dito sa pinagsama na 10.4 at 12.4, muli mapapansin nyo na binigyan diin ang pagresolba ng isang o pagbuo ng isang posisyon. So, ang MELC na nabuo po ay nakabubuo ng mapanindigang posisyon sa isang issue tungkol sa paggamit ng kapangyarihan at pangangalaga sa kalikasan ayon sa moral na matayan. Ang in-enhance po namin yung pagbabago. Nilagyan namin ng ayon sa moral na matayan. Ang natira po, yung 13 at yung 13 na merge o nasanib sa paksa 10 tungkol sa buhay at yung 14 nasanib sa paksa 12 tungkol sa kalikasan, ang natira na lamang po ay yung 15 at 16. At ano po yun? Yung paksa 15 at 16. Paninindigan yung ika-15 paksa po, paninindigan tungkol sa pangangalaga ng sarili laban sa pang-aabusong sexual, tungo sa maayos na pagtingin sa sarili at pagtataguyod ng dignidad ng tao. Yan po, lahat po niyan ay pinanatili. At lahat ng learning competency sa paksang yan ay pinanatili dahil mahalaga sa pagbabasyang moral at nakakamit ang kriteria na pangmatagalan. And finally, paninindigan para sa katotohanan. So lahat po ng paksang yan, rather ng learning competency, sa paksang to ay pinanatili. Halimbawa, yung ikalawa, nasusuri ang mga issue may kinalaman sa kawalan ng paggalang sa katotohanan. Mapapansin nyo na yun pa rin, no? Pinanatili pa rin yan. Hanggang sa uli, yung ika-4, na ebidensya ng pag-unawa sa LC na ikatlo na napatutunayan ang pagiging mulat sa mga issue tungkol sa kawalan ng paggalang sa katotohanan.
All right. Thank you very much for the very comprehensive discussion about the most essential learning competencies when it comes to the edukasyon sa pagpapakatao or ESP. Thank you very much also, Ma'am Jennifer Nuevo, Head Teacher 3 of the ESP Department of Davao City National High School. So let's call in on screen Ma'am Jennifer Nuevo. Ma'am Pearly.
Hi. Thank you, team. I'm fine. It was very comprehensive in a way that they will be able to see how it is that the MELCs were formed, and they will be able to see how to use the MELCs well when it comes to teaching the learners come August 24. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can I say thank you also to Ma'am,
Go ahead po.
to my PSDS, Lydia Villegas Ampo for helping me, and Jesus C. Cabalquinto of the New Matina Elementary School for helping me with the video. And that's all, Teen. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Teen.
Yes, thank you very much. That was Ma'am Jennifer Nuevo, Head Teacher 3 of the ESP Department of Davao City National High School. Daghan kayong salamat, Ma'am Pearly. And moving on to our next learning area, MAPEH. We will now be listening to Ma'am Janet Musa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School. Let's bring in on the screen, Ma'am Janet. Good afternoon po, Ma'am Janet.
Hello, good afternoon, Ma'am Pierre. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. You may take the floor.
Thank you. Let me pay my respects to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Reynaldo Guiliana, our ASDSS, Ma'am Emma Campo-Redondo, and Sir Basilio Manaay Jr., the CID and SGOD chief, Ma'am Alma Cifra, and Ma'am Teresita Del Valle, all the education program supervisors, especially the EPS of the MAPEH, Dr. Elsie Gagave, all the PSDSS, of course, special mention, the very active PSDS of Clusters 1 and 3, Dr. Wilfredo E. Cagate, my fellow school heads, special greetings to all the Comunal and Kabatian National High School teachers, and of course, to all the teachers of Clusters 1 and 3 who are active, dedicated, and mape ng gaon to the school and to the students. Why I said that, of course, as said by the host this afternoon, I will be presenting to you the most essential learning competencies of the K-12 MAPEH curriculum, and that includes the hope and the art and design. Let me acknowledge the creator and owner of the presentation, Dr. Elsie Gagave. Thank you very much for allowing me to use your presentation. Let me start.
Alright, babalikan po natin si Ma'am Janet Musa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School. May fix lamang po tayong system when it comes to her connection. And by the way, reminders lamang po, time check, it's 2:35 in the afternoon. Reminding all the participants to register in the attendance link. Controller, kindly flash on the screen the attendance link. By the way, sa mga hindi pa po nakapag-register, meron pa po tayong pagkakataon to key in our attendance for this afternoon session. Mamaya-maya po, we will be having our evaluation. So please do not forget also to answer it after the program. Okay. So at the moment, by the way, we would also like to recognize and thank our education program supervisors who also gave support to our school heads and the representatives of our schools for clusters 1 and 3 for helping us in sharing the MELCs for our respective clusters and schools. Also later, we will have the discussion of the most essential learning competencies for TLE, research, and the special program in the arts. So kapit-kapit lamang po tayo mga kaibigan, and now we're back. Papasukin natin ulit si Ma'am Janet Musa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School. Ma'am Janet, you're back on the floor.
Hello, good afternoon, our beautiful team. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to pay respect to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Reynaldo Guiliana, our ASDSS, Ma'am Emma Campo-Redondo, and Sir Basilio Manaay Jr., the CID and SGOD chief, Ma'am Alma Cifra, and Ma'am Teresita Del Valle, all the education program supervisors, especially the supervisor of MAPEH, Dr. Elsie Gagave, the PSDSS, especially the PSDS of Clusters 1 and 3, Dr. Wilfredo E. Cagate, my fellow school heads, special greetings to the Comunal and Cabantian National High School teachers, and of course, to all the teachers of Cluster 1 and Cluster 3 who are active, dedicated, and mape ng gaon to the school and to the students. Why I said mape ng gaon, of course, as said by the host this afternoon, I am going to present to you the most essential learning competencies of the K-12 MAPEH curriculum, and that includes the HOPE, arts and design. I would like to acknowledge, by the way, the owner and creator of the presentation. Thank you very much, Dr. Elsie Gagave, for allowing me to use your presentation and allowing me to add some slides that will fit to the secondary teachers. All right? So same with other learning areas, the the MELCs of the MAPEH undergone this process from the K to 12 curriculum guide. They identified the essential learning competencies, and then from the essential learning competencies, they identified now the most essential learning competencies. And these competencies were able to meet the endurance criterion set by the Department of Education. All right? Just a review. There are parents who are asking, no? Hindi na ba daw K to 12? Lahat ng areas ba ituturo pa rin with the new normal? Of course. So just a reminder and a review. This has been discussed already by Sir Kagape this morning. The K to 12 is not K to 12 most essential learning competencies are not a departure from the K to 12 curriculum. So K to 12 pa rin po na curriculum ang ini-implement natin with the new normal. The content and performance standards are retained. These focus on the attainment of the 21st century skills. The codes and tag materials are still retained for the merged and retained competencies, and all learning areas will still be taught. So in MAPEH, this is the rule that is being followed in identifying the most essential learning competencies. Number one, if the competency satisfies the endurance criterion, that competency will be retained. Now, there are competencies which have the same objective or learning intention and can be combined into one comprehensive learning competency. Then those competencies are merged or are clustered. Now, there are competencies which are too specific or the articulation is similar to that of a learning objective, or that competency is deemed appropriate to be introduced in an earlier quarter or grade level or moved to a later quarter or higher grade level, or that competency is recurring or subsumed in another learning competency, then that learning competency is dropped. So you cannot see it. That competency that will not reflect anymore in the MELCs. And then there are competencies that need to be more concise. Therefore, those competencies are being rephrased. Let's take a look at some examples. For music, grade 7 in the first quarter, the content is music of the song. Of course, the content and the performance standards are still the same. Now look at the underlined word in the first competency. It states, the learner identifies the musical characteristics of representative music selections from the lowlands of Luzon after listening. Now, in the MELCs, you could see that the word identified was being changed to the word described. So in MELCs, you can already see the word, the competency which states that the learner describes the musical characteristics of representative music selections from the lowlands of Luzon after listening. So it is rephrased to, the reason is to be more concise. Kasi nga with the new normal, the teacher would have a difficulty of assessing that the children, the students, if they can already identify. But if they will be able to describe the musical characteristic, that is a more concise skill or competency. Another example is a competency that is retained. So in arts grade 8, first quarter, the content is arts of Southeast Asia. The content and the performance standards are as is. The learning competency and in the MELCs, which is the learner analyze elements and principles of art in the production of arts and crafts inspired by the cultures of Southeast Asia. So it is retained. So it's still the number one competency in arts grade 8 for first quarter because this competency satisfies the endurance criterion. Now, in PE for grade 9 first quarter, the content is lifestyle and weight management, specifically sports officiating. Again, the content and performance standards are the same. Look at this, learning competency number 1. The learner undertakes physical activity and physical fitness assessments. In MELCs, this is still included, But you can see that there is no weak allotment already with this competency. Why? Because this is already embedded in the other LCs. I know that all the MAPEH teachers teaching PE understand that this is a merged competency because, as you can see, from first quarter to fourth quarter, the competencies in PE are repeated, no? Pabalik-balik lang. Naiiba lang yung content or yung topic, but the competencies are repeated. That is why the decision is to merge them or cluster them because they have the same objective or learning intention. For Health 10, first quarter, this is an exam. The first learning competency in Health 10 is an example of a competency that is dropped. Okay? So, in Health 10 first quarter, the first competency is the learner differentiates reliable from unreliable health information products and services. In MELCs, you cannot see that competency anymore. The first competency already is the learner explains the guidelines and criteria in the selection and evaluation of health information, products, and services. So this first competency in the CG is dropped because it is too specific and the articulation is similar to that of a learning objective. All right? So I cannot discuss each of the competency today kasi we have 4 components na maabutan po tayo ng hating gabi if I'll discuss. But I encourage the MAPEH teachers, I know you have your curriculum guide already and I hope that by this time you already have a copy of the MELCs in MAPEH. Try to study and analyze by yourself which of those competencies in the K-12 curriculum guide are being merged or dropped or retained or versus the MELCs, right? So kung wala pa kayong mga copy, you could search in this K-12 curriculum implementation and learning management matrix so you could have a copy of the MELCs. All right. So let's take a look at the number of LC in the current CG versus the MELCs in MAPEH. As you can see, in the current CG, there are 1,436. But in MELCs, from grade 1 to grade 10, there is only a total of 997. That's 69% from compared to the CG, right? Tingnan natin, i-detail natin pag tingin yung data. For music, for example, let's go to grade 7. In current CG, there were 37. Ngayon po sa MELCs, 27 na lang. For grade 8, from 32, 24 na lang. For grade 9, from 31, 22 na lang. And then for grade 10, from 40, 19 na lang. That's half, more than half ang either na-merge or na-drop na competencies. Okay, to better understand it, this is the graphical presentation of the number of LCs in the CG versus MELCs. The first bar there is the number of LC in the CG. The second bar is the number of most essential learning competencies. And the last bar is the number of LCs that have been dropped or merged, right? So as you can see, no, pababa yung graph from first quarter to fourth quarter, meaning from 10, for example, there were 7 na lang in the MELCs and then there were 3 who were dropped or merged. Okay? Same with the second, third, and fourth quarter. Ang arts, medyo kakaiba. Look at this. For grade 7, from 40 to 40. 43, 41 in MELCs. For grade 9, from 49, 47. For grade 10, 46 to 42. If you try to look at it in a graphical presentation, makikita ninyo na parang walang masyadong pagbaba, no, sa graph. Meaning, for first quarter, isang competency lang ay either na-drop or na-merge. Even for second quarter. Sa third quarter na, sa grade 10 lang ang may natanggal. For fourth quarter, wala. Okay? All of the competencies in the CG were retained. Okay? What is the explanation to that? The curriculum experts in arts believe that the competencies in the CG are very essential. So they included it in the MELCs. Opposite to arts is the PE. Sabi ko kanina, look at it. For grade 7, from 40, 17 na lang. More than half yung nabawas or na-merge. From 44, 21 na lang. From 33, 16 na lang. From 30, 20 na lang. Tingnan ninyo ang graphical presentation. Look at first quarter PE. Okay? From 12 for grade 7. Okay? 6 ang natira. 6 din yung na-merge or na-drop. Alright? So makikita ninyo sa second quarter PE nga, mas marami ang na-drop or na-merge kaysa sa natira na LC. From 9, naging 3 na lang, 6 were merged. 12, naging 5, 7 were merged or drop. Alright? So mas sa PE. Yun, kasi nga repetitive yung competency sa PE natin, kaya maraming na-merge or na-drop. Okay? Sa health, medyo so-so lang. For grade 7, from 44 to 34. From 50 to 32, 32 to 28, then 23 to 29. So, medyo konti lang din nabawas sa health. You can see it in the graph. Na? From 14, 9 na lang naiwan, may 5. So, mga 1, 2, about 1 or 2 ang nabawas or na-merge na competencies in the MELCs. In fact, in third quarter health, negative ang results sa graph. That means to say, from 9 na original LCs in the CG, dinagdagan ng isa. So merong dinagdag ang ating mga health curriculum experts na isang most essential learning competency. Okay? Siguro nakaligtaan nung pag-create nila ng original na CG. Alright? So how to use the most essential learning competency? It's very easy po. So this is an example of the MELCs in grade 7 music. As you can see, for first quarter ito, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 na lang po na competencies in first quarter music, grade 7. So paano mo siya gagamitin? You just look at the duration, the first column, the week of the quarter or grading period. This first competency is intended or allotted for 1 week. And then so on and so forth. So 8 weeks po for the whole quarter. Kasi nga, with our new school year, 8 months na lang yung ating klase natin. So we will divide it into 4 quarters. So 2 months, 2 months, or 8 weeks na lang po per quarter. That's the utmost duration for every quarter. Now, if you could see here in the MELCs, merong mga naka-asterisk and naka-bold na competency. What are this? No? These competencies were rephrased and deemed as the most essential in the achievement of content and performance standard. So I encourage all the MAPEH teachers, i-monitor talaga natin yung ating mga
Okay, and we're back. By the way, everybody, apologies for the inconvenience we have just caused a while ago. We experienced a technical glitch in the connection of the internet. Well, alam naman po natin lahat mga kaibigan, at this point, marami pong gumagamit ng Wi-Fi connection, lalo na lahat ng schools on all clusters in Davao City and even in the region and in the entire Philippines are all utilizing Wi-Fi. So medyo nagkakahirapan po tayo ng signal, and hopefully, in the later part, babalikan po natin si Ma'am Janet Musa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School, to continue her discussion about the most essential learning competencies in MAPEH. By the way, everybody, reminder lang po, time check, it's 2:55 p.m. Last 5 minutes for our attendance to close later on. Malapit na po magsasara ang ating attendance link, so bilisan na po natin mag-key in for our attendance, which is, the link is running down sa inyong screens right now. Sa mga hindi pa po nakapagtala ng kanilang attendance, habol-habol na po tayo, last 5 minutes before 3 o'clock strikes. And by the way, tomorrow, everyone, my dear friends, during the third day, Wednesday of this week-long training, we will have the LMS simulation. Ano ba yung LMS? So it is the Learning Management System from the selected teachers of the junior high school and senior high school. Our simulation is actually very unique. Bakit? Because we will be involving our actual learners in the simulation. And since we will be having a lot of simulations tomorrow, both in the junior high school and senior high school, we will be having our breakout sessions tomorrow. Bukas po yan, ha? Again, magkakaroon po tayo ng breakout sessions, and that will be, a separate link will be provided to you later on. Okay, now we're back. I think Ma'am Musa is already ready. Okay, calling again on screen. Ma'am Janet, are you okay now? Is
Hello,
everything all right?
Ma'am Tin, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, ma'am. Please go ahead and continue your discussion.
All right, I would like to continue. Sorry for the inconvenience, technical problems po. All right, I think nandito na ako na. This is an example of the most essential learning competencies in grade 7 music. So, sabi ko kanina, ito po ang guide natin, the duration, no, per competency. So, each component is given 8 weeks to complete or to comply with the most essential learning competencies. And then in MELCs, if you can see, may mga competencies na naka-highlight, naka-bold, no, naka-asterisk. What are these? These are competencies that were rephrased and deemed most essential in the achievement of content and performance standard, right? So here is another example of the PE. So ito yung sinabi ko kanina na sa PE, may competency na uma-appear pa rin from CG. Na? For example, this number 1, undertakes physical activity and physical fitness assessment, but wala po siyang duration, right? Ang nakalagay dito is that the competency is already embedded in the other LC. Same with competency number 6, which the learner monitors periodically one's progress towards the fitness goal. So it appears in the MELCs, but there is no duration because this competency is already embedded in the other LCs, right? So this is a MELCs for grade 7. For grade 11 and for grade 12, okay, by SEM po ang kanilang MELCs. Okay? For example, this is the Physical Education and Health for grade 11. First quarter, 9 MELCs. Ganon din po. Nandoon ang content and performance standard, the most essential learning competencies, and the duration. So for second quarter, 7 MELCs na lang po. Okay? Same with grade 12. This is an example of grade 12. Third quarter ito. Physical Education and Health, no? 7 MELCs for third quarter, and then 8 MELCs for the fourth quarter. For sports track, as is po yung mga topics or subjects for grade 11 and grade 12, and ito po yung example ng MELCs nila. The topic is safety and first aid for grade 11. So they have 7 MELCs for 17 weeks. So medyo mahabang time na ginugugol for each competency. Okay, for arts and design, ito po, as is po yung mga topics. As you can see, for creative industries 1 and 2, wala pong competency na na-drop or na-merge, as is po. Okay, so for grade 12 naman, first semester, ito, may mga competency po na na-drop or na-merge. Makikita nyo naman sa bar, no? 5, 4, may isa. Then meron sa integrating elements and principles, wala. And then so on and so forth. Ganun lang po. You can compare naman using the CG and your MELCs. Okay, so this is an example of arts and design MELCs. Quarter, content standard, performance standard, the MELCs, and the duration. Yun po ang tingnan ninyo. Okay, anyway, our curriculum is flexible. Hindi naman po sinasabi na 1 week or 2 weeks talagang allotment for each competency. I-pressure nyo talaga ang mga bata to master this one. Depende naman po sa response ng inyong mga bata. So this is flexible as long as ma-master nila yung mga competencies that are allotted for the whole quarter or semester. Right? So what are the current preparations being done by the group of MAPEH for implementation of the MELCs? I would like to inform you that with the leadership of our very active education program supervisor, Dr. Elsie Gagabe, the self-directed supplementary learning materials for MAPEH are already ready. Prepared na po, the first and the second quarter. Those will be given to you through your PSDS or school heads, or you could actually, sabi ni Doc Elsie, you can directly contact her. Just give her your email ad. She can give you the soft copy. Ready na po ang mga self-directed supplementary learning materials ng MAPEH. You can use it. Or kung meron pa kayong ibang self-learning materials na prepared ninyo, okay lang din po. Pero yung sabi ng ating SDS, di ba, in his message yesterday na ayaw niyang ma-stress or ma-pressure kayo. So kung ready na lang man ito, why not use all of this? Okay? And then, ongoing po ang pag-create ng audio or audio presentation ng mga na self-directed supplementary learning materials. Hopefully, malalabas din yan po for radio-based instruction. Okay, so these are the people behind. They call themselves the Hunat MAPEH group and the Lupad Aguila group. They are the people who made the MAPEH modules. And this is the data for the number of modules for each component. For example, for music, for grade 7, for first quarter, there are already 3 modules na ready na po. For grade 8, dalawa. For grade 9, 4. For grade 10, 4. That's a total of 13. And for second, third, and fourth quarter, 19 modules din po lahat-lahat for music. So ongoing po ang pagsusulat ng mga writers sa third and fourth quarter ng mga learning MELCs module po. Okay? For arts, makikita nyo, for first quarter, for lahat from grade 7 to grade 10, and then from grade 7 to grade 10, for second to fourth quarter, 5 modules po ang wino-work out. Okay, so that's a total of 12, 20, and 20. For PE, okay, 4, 5, 3, 3, a total of 15, 4, 5, 5, 2, a total of 16, and so on and so forth, 15 and 15 ang total. Okay, for health, medyo marami. Na? For grade 7, 6, 5 modules for grade 8, 4, and 6, 21, and then 28 for second to fourth quarter. Okay? Now, this is a summary para ma-ready lang po tayo lahat for the first quarter if you choose to use this MELCs module that are made by the team of Ma'am Elsie Gagabe. For first quarter MAPEH, in grade 7, there are 4 modules available. Then for arts, 4, for PE, 4, for health, 6. That's a total of 16. For grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, that's a total of 15, 15, and 16. So what does this data or number tells us as a teacher, no? Let's say, lahat ng modules sa grade 7 ay 18 modules lahat-lahat. And then, in first quarter, meron tayong 8 weeks only. So, paano yan? Say, pwede nating i-divide ang 18 divided by 8 weeks for the first quarter. So, pwedeng 2 or 3 modules ang ating ibibigay sa ating mga bata every week kung yan po ang inyong style of distributing the modules in your school. So, again, depende naman po sa inyo kung anong napag-usapan ninyo, napag-desisyonan in your school. Kung modular yung learning delivery mode ninyo, you could have it this way. Pwede din po ipadala ninyo for 2 weeks yung music, Another 2 weeks for arts, another 2 weeks for PE, and then yung health. So depende na rin po. I'm just giving you the idea of ilang modules ang ire-reproduce ninyo sa school. Kasi for the first quarter, the schools will be the one to reproduce the modules. Okay? So by the way, these modules are composed of about a maximum of 20 pages each. So ngayon niya lang po, i-times nyo na po, i-multiply nyo na po yung 18 modules times 20 pages times the number of students that you will be giving the modules to. So that's around mga hundreds of reams ang kakailanganin, especially for big schools. Right? So for grade 11, for first sem, 9. For second sem, 7. For grade 12, 10, and 9. For arts and design, 1 module, but it is composed of 5 lessons for the first sem. For grade 12, 19 lessons. Wala pa po sa second sem. Okay? Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that the teacher writers of the self-directed supplementary learning materials in MAPEH, marami pong writers coming from Cluster 1 and Cluster 3. And I'd like to acknowledge them because these people, they spent sleepless nights making this self-directed supplementary modules. In the verge or in the height of this COVID-19 pandemic, these people were not sleeping. They were researching, they were presenting these modules to the validators and then revising, finalizing it. Walang tulog ito. So nararapat lang po na i-acknowledge naman natin sila sa ating cluster-wide na rollout. Right? So ito po ang mga mukha ng mga tao behind the MAPEH modules. 19 writers for Music Junior High School, but in our cluster, there were 6. Their team leader is Ma'am Silito May Yara from F. Bangoy National High School, together with Dr. Brian Cancio and Sir Kent Rosete. We also have writers from Santa Ana National High School. That's Ma'am Grely Catamco, Harold Saldana, and Russell Ramirez. And from Bernardo Campio, we have Ma'am Jane Robledo. Okay? So these people, deserve a big, big round of applause. For arts, our team leader is from F. Bangoy again, Mr. Patrick Masculino. And then we have writers from Santa Ana National High School. We have Ma'am Ruby Jean Porras, Gina Dapdap, Ma'am Mary Jean Ocho from Pablo Lorenzo National High School, Ma'am Lilyville Facelo from G. Tajo National High School, Richelle Pedrano from Waan National High School, Cherilyn Bagnol from TV Fernandez, and Rachel Robles from Buhangin District. Okay, out of the 22 writers for PE, coming from clusters 1 and 3, we have 7. The team leader is Ma'am Livelyn Corridor from F. Bangoy National High School, together with Michael Sabelo. And then we have writers from Bernardo Carpio, Comunal National High School, Pablo Lorenzo, and Santa Ana National High School. Ma'am Maria Teresa Leguez, Ernesto Braga Jr., Ma'am Yvonne Chan, Flordelisa Calderon, and Mylene May Gutierrez. Okay? And then these are the health writers. There are 9 coming from our cluster. The leader is Sir Tulabing Arnold Jeff from F. Bangoy. From Bernardo Carpio, we have Ma'am Christina Hero, Hazel Narcerin Placer, Ellie Rose Miranda, Willie Jane Bagnol. And from E. Ramos National High School, we have Ma'am Daniel Rui, Sir Daniel Rui, Leia Calonia. From Cabantian, we have Ma'am Annalyn Torno, and from Santa Ana, Nanette Morales. So, akala nyo po, ang mga teachers natin sa Cluster 1, Cluster 3 natulog lang during the quarantine. Hindi po. They were writing and writing and writing from first quarter to fourth quarter po. May mga nadagdag for second and third, fourth quarter writers. But these are the writers for the first quarter only. Right? Sa Hope po, Hope Optimizing Physical Education. Sa senior high school ito, our team leader is coming from Pablo Lorenzo National High School, Ma'am Rubina Casiano, and Sir Jeffmar Palawan of Santa Ana National High School. Their members are Ma'am Kate Barbara Ann Simoy of Davao City National High School, Givian Joy Kines of Leon Garcia, Cherilyn Tulang from TV Fernandez, Ma'am Yvonne Chan from Pablo Lorenzo, Richelle Pedrano from Waan, and Ana Maringoho from Bernardo Carpio. So ready na po lahat ng modules for first quarter sa senior high school PE. Okay? For arts and design, I think there are only 2 schools that are implementing or offering arts and design, Santa Ana and City High. So naturally po, all the writers are coming from the 2 schools. So their leader is Ma'am Yvonne Valdez from Davao City National High School, with John Riv Akyatan, Jefferson Bangot, Mark Noel Nareto, Arlon Vicentino, from Davao City National High School, and from Santa Ana, si Sir John Abram Alontaga, and yung nasa likod ni Sir Valdez, that's the very special person to me, that's my husband. That's Alwin Musa po himself. For contemporary arts, isingit ko lang po, for the first quarter sa senior high contemporary arts, tapos na rin po ang modules nito. There were 14 modules. Most of the writers are coming from the other clusters, but their evaluator is none other than himself, Mr. Alwin Musa from Santa Ana National High School. Right? I'd like to inform everyone that our very active and humble schools division superintendent took a look and made some recommendations and suggestions of how to improve the modules of the MAPEH, MELCs modules of the MAPEH. So, and then, aside from the team leaders and the writers, we have the MAPEH coordinating school heads from elementary and secondary. So for secondary, we have, ito sila yung mga school heads na nagko-coordinate sa mga writers and other informations na binibigay po ng ating EPS na si Ma'am Gagabe, Elsie Gagabe. So for cluster 1 is Sir Alvarez, Ruel Alvarez, and yours truly for cluster 3. Right? And the last, okay, I'm on the last slide. Ito po yung mga tao behind the success of the creation of the MELCs module in MAPEH. They assure all of us, no, especially the MAPEH teachers, meron po tayong ibibigay, meron po tayong magagamit para sa ating mga bata this opening of class August 24, 2020. So salamat po sa inyong lahat para sa bata at para sa bayan. All right, to end, I'd like to quote this statement from our, no less than our EPS in MAPEH. She said, for us to be more inspired as we start our school year this August. Sabi niya, nothing beats a pure heart with sincere intentions in serving the Filipino children. Maayong hapon sa tanan, og mabuhay ang mga teachers sa Cluster 1 and Cluster 3.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Janet Musa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School, for your very comprehensive walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies in MAPEH. Talagang para sa bata at para sa bayan. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right. So, by the way, everybody, nais po naming batiin ang ating live viewers. Di ba, ma'am? Thank you very much. And we also have actually more than 900 live viewers. Wow, sobrang dami, nakaka-overwhelm po. Maraming salamat. More than 900 viewers right now watching us in the day 2 of the cluster training of teachers on the learning management system. We also have our viewers, by the way, outside Davao City. If you can imagine, may mga viewers po tayo sa labas ng ating lugar. Nakakataba ng puso. Thank you very much po for viewing even until this hour. And by the way, we would also like to greet Ma'am Leticia Rabino of Davao City National High School, Araling Panlipunan Department. Happy birthday. Ma'am, I know you're watching. Happy birthday po, and may God continue to bless you with more health and bountiful blessings. All right. Bukas pala, makakasama po natin si Mr. Clyde Saludar ng Bernardo D. Carpio National High School para sa ating plenary session. Dahil siya rin po ang magiging moderator ng Junior High School LMS simulation. Also, para naman sa Senior High School simulation, ay makakasama din po natin si Mr. Jamaico C. Magayo. Ayan po. So, by the way, for the information of everybody, time check, it's 3:13 in the afternoon. Sarado na po ang ating link sa attendance. So, mamaya, may bagong link po kaming ibibigay sa inyo. The evaluation link will follow later on. And ongoing po ngayon, running below your screens, the padded link for our questions, suggestions, and recommendations during this day 2 CTOT. By the way, we would also like to thank all the education program supervisors, the EPS of the Curriculum Implementation Division, the CID, headed by our CID Chief, Dr. Alma C. Sifra, for providing us all these materials. Again, maraming salamat po. DepEd Davao City Division. Okay, at this juncture, we will now proceed to the next learning area, and that is TLE TVL. Okay, and TVE. Let's call in Mr. Romeo Ticar, School Head of Pablo Lorenzo National High School. Sir Romeo, take it away.
To our schools, division superintendent, Ronaldo Miguela, 65. To our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Irma Dundo, and Sir Cindy Binakay. To our CID chief, Dr. Amita. Our SDOD chief, Dr. Sigma Bin Ali. Our public schools district supervisor, Dr. Benedicto Katapi, my fellow school heads, participants, good afternoon to everyone. My task this afternoon is to have a walkthrough of technology and livelihood education and technical vocational livelihood. The objectives: discuss the characteristics of institutional learning activities, identify components of love, interpret the tools found in the love, and explore how to use the net. Most technical learning activities focus instruction to the most crucial and indispensable activities that our learners must acquire. It will also lighten the burden of converting classroom-oriented learning resources into learning resources that fit the different learning. It serves as one of the guides for teachers as they address the instructional needs of learners while ensuring that curriculum standards are achieved. Content of performance standards indicated in notes are outward in the prescribed standards curriculum guide. Characteristics of association learning activities. It would remain with learners to after a test, the unit of study is completed and is useful via a single test unit of study. It is applicable to real-life situations. If students leave school, it would still be important for them to have this competitive across many others. It is tied with national and or local standards frameworks. It connects the content to higher effects across content areas. Streamlining of K-12 curriculum into the most essential learning activities, K-12 curriculum guide, essential learning activities, and the most essential learning activities. In EPP the number of courses in curriculum guide is 883. And the number of now is 749. The percentage now is 55%. The percentage of the new LCs is 50%. In particular, to identify the special feature, four components, the fourth component, HA, IA, ICT, AFA. No note released here as listing of the national system. Component of notes, water, agent standards, performance standards, most procedural learning activities, duration, tools. Water refers to time or period where topical coverage of particular subject is level needed. Content standard identifies set essential understanding that should be learned in specific career. Covers simplified scope execution topics with its learner's plan, domain, team, or component. Content standards answer the question, what should the learners know to understand? The performance standards answer the following question. Describe the abilities and skills that learners are expected to demonstrate in relation to the content standards. The integration of knowledge, understanding, and skills takes space purification, innovation, and adding value to products, performance, during independent work or in collaboration with others. Performance standards answer the following questions. There are some questions. What can learners do with what we do? What we know? How will must learners do the work? How will the learners use the learning or understanding in the new normal situation? How do learners apply the learning or understanding in real life context? And what tools and measures should learners use to demonstrate what we know? Most essential learning objectives is safe use of the knowledge, understanding, skills, and attitudes that students need to demonstrate effective use of the learning activity. Duration refers to the number of weeks particular learning activity will be taught. Two, this was initiated in order to identify learning activities that are connected to executive spiral operation. This increase where the same code number, this is also connected to the creation of the LRMDS, Learning Resource Management and Development System. Code, subject, strand, the specialization, grade level, reason, quarter, week, and PLO. Ganun lang po, you just follow the guide to the most essential learning techniques for its designated duration. The TLE and TVL MELCs were identified in the four components which are as follows: industrial arts, home economic, agriculture and fishery arts, information communication, and technology. How to use MELCs can teaching being further. The traditions stipulated in this document is not prescriptive but a rather suggestive. Nonetheless, the MELCs remain non-negotiable. The following are the premises to be considered in utilizing MELCs for teaching or for PPT and TLE. Entrepreneurship is embedded in the four components of PPT, TLE. MELCs activity work would have to be unpacked by the teachers. Sub-learning competencies that are redundant or occurring were removed to satisfy the 8 to 9 week allotment per quarter. For grade 7 and up, exploratory, there is an option to choose 4 mini courses in ICT, ESA, HA, IE, or one of the components chosen for the duration of the whole year. Each mini course is good for 8 to 9 weeks per quarter. For grade 7 and 8, exploratory, the last 2 or 3 weeks are allotted for entrepreneurship. Furthermore, the modifications in the next slides will give to show further articulation of standards. Okay, so for most of the TLE TVL specialization, the curriculum guides remain as is. Now, so not identified because the competencies are based on the training regulation or TISA which will be amended or modified for specific situation, but will be delivered to flexible learning modes as stated in the circular number 60% 2028. However, regardless of the learning modalities, nominal hours remain the same, except for the following suggested specialization. Handicraft and other TLE, TVL specialization that are non-NC or the TVL affect the assessment of the learners as suggested to be offered here. The performance skills for this specialization will be taught and assessed either in school or at home. Local materials available in the community. If you care, nature, both spa, eye spa, hairdressing, barbering, and other field-related specializations, similarities are also recommended to be offered this year. Based on national certification assessment, but the performance skills can be taught and assessed either in school or at home. Sample notes for the specialization is suggested to be used for TLA, TVL specialization. Consider the resources available in school, at home, or in the community in choosing which schools, courses, or offer things health is of utmost concern. In instances where the learners have physically attend a class, the learner should still be able to perform the tasks as stated in the curriculum guide. On the other hand, in cases where competencies are not feasible or not attainable due to various circumstances, the teacher may give alternative activity provided it is in line with the substituted learning competency. The components of TLE built from grade 9 to 12 are the continuation of itself, meaning from grade 9, the skills are enhanced to become specialized in senior high school. Always remember, my dear teachers, we just need to follow the guide set by the Department of Education, and I know we can make this happen. Thank you and good luck to all of us in the teaching profession. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Romeo Ticar, School Head of Pablo Lorenzo National High School, for your presentation and for giving us a walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies in TLE, TVE, and TVL. By the way, everybody, if you have questions, clarifications, or anything that you would like to share within this webinar for this afternoon session, please do not forget to visit our Padlet link. Controller, kindly show again our Padlet link for our viewers to check. And also, also for our school heads and cluster heads are here to answer all your questions. So please don't hesitate to key in all your questions, inquiries, recommendations, and anything else that you would like to share during our webinar. So at this moment, we will now proceed to the next learning area, right? To discuss further with a walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies for research in senior high school. Let us call on screen Dr. Roberto Arbinag, the Principal 1 of Gorgonio Tahoe Senior National High School. Hi, sir.
Hi, Tin. Konnichiwa. Minasan, konnichiwa.
はい、先生、こんにちは。校長先生、
はい
おめでとうございます。
はい、konnichiwa. Minasan, konnichiwa. Practical research のことをお話ししたいと思います。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
Okay, by the way, for the information of everybody, Dr. Roberto Binag is actually our co-teacher in the special program in foreign language Japanese way back when he was still teaching in Davao City National High School. Right, Sensei?
Hi, right, very right. And the expression I just used was a Japanese expression, a Japanese humble expression of saying, I am now ready for my presentation and please bear with my presentation.
では、校長先生、よろしくお願いします。Go ahead.
はい、よろしくお願いいたします。At the outset, allow me to express my gratitude to the school's division superintendent of the Division of Davao City, Dr. Rinaldo M. Guiliena, CESO 5, to our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Emma Camporidondo and Sir Basilio Manaay, to our public schools district supervisor, Dr. Winifredo E. Cagape, to fellow school heads in clusters 1 and 3, to our teaching and non-teaching personnel, to our students, to our parents, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Allow me to walk through with you the most essential learning competencies for senior high school applied subjects, Practical Research 1 and Practical Research 2. But since there were already speakers who came ahead of me, I'm sure that you are already very familiar with as to the process on how these most essential learning competencies were determined by the Department of Education. But nevertheless, let me review a bit on these essential principles, how these MELC were identified. So of course, our MELCs are derived from the K-12 curriculum guide, and from there you have your essential learning competencies, and from the essential learning competencies you have in your K-12 curriculum guide, we were able to determine the most essential learning competencies. And of course, the K-12 most essential learning competencies, or the MELC, is not a departure from the K-12 curriculum. In fact, this is rooted in the K-12 curriculum. The standards are retained, focus are on the attainment of 21st century skills, and the codes and tags and tag materials are retained for merged and retained competencies. Of course, all learning areas will also be taught. As a general rule, learning competencies are retained, merged, clustered, dropped, or rephrased. For Practical Research 1, we also call it qualitative research. This course develops critical thinking and problem-solving skills through qualitative research. This is offered in grade 11 in the second semester. For junior high school and for the junior high school, this is during the third and the fourth quarter. There are 8 major contents here. Number 1 is the nature of inquiry and research. Number 2 is qualitative research and importance in daily life. Number 3, identifying the inquiry and stating the problems. Learning from others and review literature. Understanding data and the ways to systematically collect the data. Finding answers through data collection. Analyzing the meaning and reporting and sharing the findings. For Practical Research 2, this is called quantitative research. So this course develops critical thinking and problem-solving skills through quantitative research. This is offered in grade 12 in the first semester. For junior high school, this is during the first and the second quarter of the school year. There are 6 major contents here: the nature of inquiry and research, identifying the inquiry and stating the problem, learning from others and reviewing the literature, understanding data and ways to systematically collect the data, finding answers through data collection, and reporting and sharing of findings. So the Practical Research 1 and Practical Research 2 are applied senior high school subject. For example, in the grade 11 of the senior high school applied subjects, there are a total of 169 most essential learning competencies. This is from the 197. So, or 86% of the 197. So if you look at the table, there are, for qualitative or practical research one, there used to be 34 essential learning competencies. Now it is narrowed down to 30. 4 were dropped. For quantitative practical research 2, there used to be 36 learning competencies. Now we have retained 25, and 11 of the essential learning competencies were dropped. So let's take a look at your most essential learning competencies for practical research 1. So as mentioned, there are 34, no? There are 34 now 30 most essential learning competencies for practical research 1. So this is divided into 2 quarters. Each quarter, you have 8 weeks per quarter. So a total of 16 weeks in 1 semester. So in 1 semester, you are going to discuss all these competencies, most essential learning competencies, in 80 hours. What about for practical research 2? So for practical research 2, there are only 25 most essential learning competencies. So these are divided into quarters. For first quarter, this is going to be discussed for 8 weeks. And for the second quarter, this is going to be delivered for 9 weeks. So there will be a total of, there are 7 weeks for first quarter, and then there are 9 weeks for second quarter. So still a total of 16 weeks or 80 hours for 1 semester. So further, let us look at your most essential learning competencies. If you look at the old curriculum guide for learning competencies numbers 1 to 5, they are, or 1 to 6, they are all retained. So they are all retained. You can still find them in practical research 1, and they are offered from quarter 1, weeks 1 to 2. No, so all these learning competencies were retained. But if you look at the last 4 or last 3 learning competencies for practical research 1, these learning competencies cannot be found anymore in the most essential learning competencies. It means that they are already dropped. So meaning that they have not passed the test. So maybe they are either redundant or repetitive, or maybe they're no longer relevant to be offered in the as most essential learning competencies. So where are we now in our preparation? So earlier, the previous speaker, the school head from Comunal National High School, Ma'am Musa, mentioned that the modules for MAPEH are already available. Same for practical research 1. So our modules for practical research 1 and practical research 2 are already available. If you look at my screen, it says there that on July 20 to 30, they should have already on the final evaluation of the modules. But today is already August 4. So therefore, I was informed that they are already done with all the modules for practical research 1 and 2. So very good. That's a good news, because it means that our students can already make use of the modules that our writers have formulated during the past few weeks. So just like the previous presenter, allow me to recognize our writers who were tasked to formulate, to design our modules. No? So for practical research 1, there are 31 writers. So some of them are teachers in the either cluster 1 or cluster 2. I am seeing familiar face there. Yes, like Ma'am Roble is a master teacher from Bernardo Carpio National High School. She's a senior high school teacher. So I presume that all these writers uh, are either Practical Research 1 teacher or Practical Research 2 teacher, or they are experts in the field of research. So for Practical Research 1 Quarter 2 writers, this is led by a senior high school teacher from Davao City National High School, Sir Lim. And I am also seeing Sir Tumilap, a senior high school teacher from Santa Ana National High School, Ma'am Roble from Bernardo Carpio National High School. I'm sorry if I missed some of the names, but it seemed that for this slide, only 3 are from cluster 1 or 3. Okay, so there are for Practical Research 2, 28 writers. So for Practical Research 2, Quarter 1, this is led by Dr. Fortogaliza. No? So I am still seeing Sir Lim there and Ma'am Labasano. Oh, okay. And then for Practical Research 2, the group leader is Sir Grandeza. So I am seeing Sir Fortogaliza, Sir Saludar. Yes, from Bernardo Carpio National High School. So for inquiries, investigation, and immersion, there are 13 writers. So all these modules have gone through a series of evaluation, scrutiny, and they have passed the careful examination from our team leaders, headed by, of course, our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Giliena, our ESDSS, Ma'am Emma Camporidondo, Sir Basilio Manaay, our CID Chief, Ma'am Sifra, and our Education Program Supervisor, Ma'am Gagabe, and Ma'am Leia Saavedra. So you see on the slide, even our Schools Division Superintendent checks our module to see to it that these are compliant with the requirement prescribed for by the Department of Education. So the most essential learning competencies must have been incorporated in all these modules. And so they are all ready for our students' use. In closing, allow me to share a gentle reminder that Google is not a synonym for research. And therefore, I challenge our research teachers to always instill in the hearts and minds of our learners the values of responsibility and accountability, so that especially during times of pandemic like what we are experiencing right now, correct and relevant information are really essentially important nowadays. So thank you very much. As mentioned by Bron, basic research is what I am doing when I don't know what I am doing. So daghang kaayong salamat. Thank you very much. God bless and keep safe everyone.
Robbie Sensei, 今回の素晴らしい MELCs の発表、本当にありがとうございました。Thank you very much, Robbie Sensei, for your very comprehensive and impressive presentation of the most essential learning competencies for the senior high school, particularly in research. Thank you, sir, for your time. And do you have any other messages, sir, for your teachers in Borgoño Tajo Senior National High School?
Maybe I'd just like to commend our teachers, our writers, especially our writers, for taking time, for giving their services even during pandemic. No, so while others are working home, all these writers are burning their eyelashes just to come up with all these modules that we are going to use in the new normal classrooms. So daghang kaayong salamat din, daghang kaayong salamat everyone.
All right. Once again, thank you very much, Robbie Sensei. That was Dr. Roberto R. Binag, Principal 1 of Borgoño Tajo Senior National High School. Diba? Nare-refresh ko ulit yung Nihongo skills ko pagkausap ko si Robbie Sensei. Kasi kasama ko po siya for quite some time when we were training courtesy of the Department of Education and Japan Foundation, Manila. Right? Saludar ng Bernardo D. Carpio National High School para sa ating plenary session for day 3. And siya rin po ang magiging moderator ng Junior High School LMS Simulation. Para rin naman po sa Senior High School Simulation ay makakasama po natin si Mr. Jamaico C. Magayo. So there will be a breakout session when it comes to our simulation, and naisin po naming batiin lahat po ng mga viewers natin who are still tuning in. We are counting from 914 as of this moment. Okay. So by the way, may padat link pa po tayo sa baba running in your screen. If you have still further questions regarding our webinar for this afternoon session, please key in your questions, inquiries, and recommendations so we can also improve our presentations within this afternoon session. Again, we would like to thank all the education program supervisors of the Curriculum Implementation Division, CID, of the Department of Education Division of Davao City, headed of course by our CID Chief, Dr. Alma C. Sifra, for providing all these materials and presentations. Again, from the bottom of our hearts, from Cluster 1 and 3, maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta. Okay, so at this moment, we are now down to our last presentation, and while waiting for our guest for the last speaker, mamaya makakasama rin po natin ulit ang ating Public Schools District Supervisor for the open forum. So habang may oras na po tayo ngayon, please key in now your questions dahil ito po ang tamang oras para mailahad ang inyong mga tanong at masagot po diretsahan ang inyong mga tanong courtesy of our speakers and of course our ever active PSDS, Dr. Fred Cagape. Also, later on, we'll be releasing our evaluation link. So everyone, please stand by and please wait for the flashing on your screens in a few minutes from now. Also, we will be giving you the link later on for our session for tomorrow's plenary, and it will be flashed as well mamaya-maya lamang po. So stand by po tayong lahat, and once you have the links ready, please don't forget to share it to your co-teachers, to the department, sa lahat po na nanonood scenes of this Day 2 webinar on the cluster training of teachers on the learning management system, and also the ever supportive school heads. From Cluster 1, we have Ma'am Evelyn E. Magno, Principal 4 of Davao City National High School, Ma'am Josephine A. Basilio, Assistant Principal 2 of Emilio Ramos National High School. We also have Ma'am Jocelyn O. Franca, Principal 2 of Erico Nograles National High School. Sir Rolando Capol, our training manager for Day 2, the Principal 2 of F. Bangoy National High School. Also, we would like to recognize Ma'am Shirley Elizabeth and Jacobe, Principal 1 of Leon Garcia Senior National High School. Sir Ruel A. Alvarez, Principal 4 of Santa Ana National High School. We also have Engineer Redilon Morales, Principal 2 of Vicenta Nograles National High School. Also, we have Sir Yuri Giovanni Polita, Officer in Charge of Davao City National High School, Madapo Campus. Okay, at this point, di rin pahuhuli ang Cluster 3. We have Ma'am Ruth A. Rufano, Teacher 3 of Acacia National High School, Ma'am Maribeth B. Alcordo, Principal 1 of Bernardo D. Carpio National High School. Also, we have Ma'am Liberty R. Arellano, Principal 3 of Cabantian National High School, Ma'am Janet C. Musa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School. Kanina lang po, Dr. Roberto R. Binag, Principal 1 of Vergonio Tajo Senior National High School, Sir Romeo E. Ticar, Head Teacher 6 of Pablo Lorenzo National High School, Sir Charlie B. Pulma, Principal 2 of Teofilo V. Fernandez National High School. We have also Ma'am Maria Luisa T. Mamita, Principal 2 of Waan National High School, Ma'am Araceli Arellano, Head Teacher 1 of Mujang High School, TV Fernandez National High School, Annex. And last but not the least, we have Ma'am Maria Ligaya R. Romero, Principal 1 of Pilar Rodriguez, IS, PD Carpio National High School, Annex. Okay, and we're down to the last learning area who will talk about the special curricular program, specifically the special program in the arts. May I call in on screen Sir Edmund Soperada, the Head Teacher 3 of Davao City National High School Special Program in the Arts. Good afternoon, Sir Edmund.
Teachers from cluster 1 and 3 watching from their work from home mode. We're still streaming live from our cluster studio here at Davao City National High School. So thank you sa tanan mga technical people here who've been working overnight. Maayong hapon especially to our SPA and teachers from Arts and Design from Davao City National High School, Santa Ana National High School, Cabantian National High School, and Bernardo Carpio National High School. I hope everybody's tuning in at this point of time. I know it's very late in the afternoon. Ug kabalo ko daghan na nagduka dahil sa inyong mga panimalay. Kaway-kaway, everybody, stretching sa gamay para dili ta manggahi. Virtual waving sa ta. Katong katulogon, pwede magkape sa mo, ug katong mga nag-break time, balik na mo sa pagpaminaw karon. Before I will start, allow me first to acknowledge the people behind my presentation, Dr. Winifredo Cagapi and Maiko Magayo, Ms. Yvonne Valdez, and Nestor Herfilia of the Cultural Center of the Philippines and the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. I know this is a walkthrough of our MELCs, so we will make it quick. It's very late in the afternoon already. So I will start first with the special program and the arts. In the light of the COVID-19 pandemic and the consequent shortened academic year, the Department of Education, through the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Special Curricular Program Division, has produced a list of most essential learning competencies. MELC was produced to ensure that grade level standards, along with its content and performance standards, are still attained despite the changes in learning delivery modes brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. In the process of identifying the MELCs, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner. Endurance is defined as the learning competency that remains with learners long after a test is completed. Beyond a single test or unit of study, which is applicable to real-life situations or social participation and integration. Guided by the requirement that a learning competency be useful in lifelong learning, the group of specialists in charge of the special program in the arts curriculum recognizes the role of the program in developing excellent young artists in any field of the arts towards the promotion of Filipino culture and heritage preservation. The identified MELCs are those that can be learned in any mode of delivery, either face-to-face, online, or home-based learning. The learner identifies the nature and characteristics of each dance form. In this example, provides students with knowledge of content-specific words learned from the physical education component of MAPEH. MELCs are also significantly less than the original number of LCs in the curriculum because of certain factors. First, some LCs may be subsumed by other competencies. Differentiate dance forms genre. Identify the nature and characteristic of each dance. As what we have already known, MELC also significantly less than the original number of LCs in the curriculum because of the certain factors. First, some LCs may be subsumed by other competencies. The second factor considered in determining in the MELCs is the LC's ability to be administered in different learning modalities, especially during the pandemic. In the SPA, we have 6 arts disciplines: theater, dance, media, creative writing, music, and visual arts, and 4 grade levels. How to use the MELCs. Given the nature of the MELCs, the teacher is advised to find suitable activities and performance output for the achievement of certain competencies. It is also recommended that the teacher consider available resources in the community. The teacher may include more or less than those identified depending on the needs of the learners. All right, that's all for the SPA. However, we have, on the lighter note, we have a very good news from the National Commission for the Arts because they are providing us learning materials for the SPA program. At the moment, the SPA can be one of the three main generators of future artists. The other two are the local communities and the sustaining local cultural organizations. It is said that SPAs are not supported with guidance in a timely and measured manner, and it is with this regards that our leading artists, cultural educators, and practitioners and pillars in Mindanao arts would like to integrate themselves in the learning process and help impart to our learners their expertise and wisdom in the field of culture and the arts through virtual education platforms. In other words, our learners will be learning directly from our artists of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. The Gador awardees recognizes the following deserving Mindanaoans as follows. So these are the identified artists here in Mindanao who will be helping our SPA students. There will be 6 episodes of the Gador Masterclass. The theme and focus and the masters who are engaged to be integrated in SPA classes, and these are as follows. In the episode 1, Sining Kambayoka of the Making of Magandiri as featured in the first Budeo Festival of Culture. This will be on September. Episode 2, Rediscovering the Heritage of the Theater by Nestor Filia and the Kaliwa Theater Collective, and this will be on October. The Vision of the Indigenous and the Images of Tibuli in Maria Tudi's Life World. This will be on November. Sulambi, the Play and the Playwright featuring Sunny Clemens Noel. This will be on January. For episode 5, Stamping with Light Grace by Agnes Luxin, a Mindanaoan Gawad CCP awardee sa Sining Awardee for Dance guest. And for our 6th episode, The Subanin Buklug, an ICH for humanity in need of urgent safeguarding. This will be on March. A full episode will be comprised of the following sequences that are designed to be audited by the specific SPA classes in different regions of Mindanao. For sequence 1, introduction of the theme in 5 minutes and the background engagement of expertise of the Gador awardee. For sequence 2, conversation with the Gador masters, a Q&A portion. The master explains to an interviewer his and her treatise in intentions of past or present works for 10 minutes. For sequence 3, a short video documentary that exemplifies the master's ideas. And for sequence 4, the conversation continues as the plot thickens to elucidate on the intended outcomes and desired impacts of the works of the masters. For sequence 5, testimonies of the action of the colleagues and former students of the masters to broaden the narrative of the masters. For sequence 6, segue to the actual teaching, learning situation and actual SPA class hybrid of virtual face-to-face setting, where a teacher summarizes the ideas of the master and proceeds to facilitate the Q&A session between the master and the SPA student. Sequence 7, another short video documentary of the master's work that covers the lessons learned. And for sequence 8, the ending sequence, the master's closing message. Production needs in this project requires technical and logistic support from the following identified agencies. The CCP can provide existing files of video documentaries of the life and works of the masters. The NCCA will be requested to provide funding assistance for the pre-production work of the required episode, as well as an endorsement of the use of the PTV4 studio facilities during the involvement of pilot SPA class. Kaisa sa Sining will be tapped to arrange the necessary logistic support for pre-production, post-production, as well as the creator production staff based in Mindanao to handle all phases of the project implementation. Timeline and deliverables. By August, conference with the Gador awardees and assisting agencies organizing training of creative team, production work for first episode. On September, project launching, first episode broadcast, production work for the second episode. By October, second episode broadcast, production work for third episode. By November, third episode broadcast, production work for fourth episode. By December, production work of succeeding episodes and project assessment. By January, fourth episode broadcast. By February, fifth episode broadcast. And by March, sixth episode broadcast. For arts and design, as presented by Ms. Yvonne Valdez, we will have a quick walkthrough of their MELCs. This presentation will give emphasis on the difference between the curriculum guide and the most essential learning competencies. As you can see in the graphics, for the Creative Industries 1, grade 11, first semesters, for quarter 1, we have a 0 difference for the CGN MELC. For quarter 3 and 4, for Creative Industries 2, second semester. Grade 12 specialized subject for first semester. It is clearly illustrated in this graphics the difference of the curriculum guide and the most essential learning competencies. It is observed that the learning competencies from the previous curriculum guide has differences or remained in the most essential learning competencies. Some competencies can be discussed or merged to other competencies or taken from the previous grade level. I would like to acknowledge the people behind the arts and design for cluster 1. We have Jefferson Bangot, our coordinator for arts and design in Davao City National High School. Abraham Aluntaga from Santa Ana National High School, Ms. Yvonne Valdez, our master teacher for Davao City National High School, John Ribaquiatan, Mark Nareto, Maria Glaceria Valdez, Arlon Vicentino, and Alwin and Musa from Santa Ana National High School. As of July 31, 2020, grade 11 modules has finished 3, and for grade 12, they have finished 30. Thank you for listening. That's all for the SPA and the Arts and Design MELC walkthrough. Ms. Teen?
Yes, thank you very much, Sir Edmond Saperada, Head Teacher 3 of Davao City National High School, SPA, for giving us the run-through and the walkthrough of the special curricular programs, particularly in the special program in the arts. Ayan, thank you very much, sir, for the time. Any message po for your co-teachers who are watching right now?
I wish everybody, yes, thank you, Ms. Teen. I wish everybody good luck. Kay hapit na ba yata magsugod? We have like 2 to 3 weeks left, no, for the opening of our classes. So God bless everyone.
Okay, daghan kaayong salamat. Again, that was Sir Edmond Saperada, Head Teacher 3 of Davao City National High School Special Program in the Arts. At this point, mga kaibigan, ipa-flash na po namin ang evaluation link which will be shown on your screen right now. Controller, kindly flash the evaluation link. Ayan na po. That is the evaluation link for day 2. And allow me to read. That's https:/bit.ly/3K5 capital EIS and capital G. I repeat, for the evaluation day 2, the link is already posted on your screens right now. So that is https:/bit.ly/3K5 capital EIS capital G. We will be looking forward for all your recommendations and comments regarding our day 2 evaluation for this webinar. And by the way, mga kaibigan, remind ko lang po, I have here, binigay po sa akin kanina, these are actually non-contact infrared thermometers, courtesy of our very generous sponsors. And they are reminding us to please key in pala every day your attendance, because these prizes will be up for grabs for the schools who will reach the 100% as much as possible, or the highest percentage of attendance as a whole. Okay? So ito po, again, you'll be receiving non-contact infrared thermometer. Gamit na gamit po ito at this moment of our pandemic. All right. So at this juncture, we will be having an open forum. And for your questions, you may now access again the Padlet links. And actually, may mga natanggap na po kami. And by the way, at this moment, may I call on screen Dr. Winifredo Ikagape, again, our public schools district supervisor for cluster 1 and 3. Sir Fred, mayong hapon.
Hi, Ma'am Christine. May hapon sa tanan. Are you still there? Watching. Kaway-kaway mo na dyan.
Yan, kaway-kaway naman. Digital virtual naman na shake, shake, shake. Diba? I think it's already cloudy, sir. So far
Yes.
naman, talagang
Malapit
napaka-comprehensive
ang
po ng
ulan.
discussion ng mga most essential learning competencies. Oo. Hopefully, within this time, sir, ready na po ba tayo for the Q&A?
Yes. Nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Questions.
Okay.
Basta kaya lang.
Alright. So, ito na, sir. Ibibigay ko na po sa inyo. Okay. Pa-flash po natin yung question natin on the screen. And I will be repeating the question, sir. So here it goes. First question. This is from Leon Garcia, National High School. Ang tanong po, sir, when will the modules or learning resources be given to the teachers? I hope it will be given ahead of time to create the IMs that can be uploaded po to the LMS. Again, repeat ko lang, sir. From Leon Garcia, National High School. Sir, when will the modules or learning resources be given to the teachers po? I hope it will be given ahead of time to create the IMs that can be uploaded to the LMS. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I don't have the definite date as regards to when is the module be ibigay sa atin sa mga schools. But hopefully, I am hoping that before the start of our classes this coming August before, lahat ng mga materials ay maibigay na sa atin for reproduction purposes. So ngayon, and I know the division office experts are trying their best to really fast track all these materials. In fact, next week mayroon tayong mga test runs o dry runs kung paano natin i-implement yung mga modules na yan. So I hope before August before, maibigay na sa atin yung mga materials.
Okay, I hope the person who asked the question from Leon Garcia National High School has been clarified with this question. Thank you, sir. We will be having another question. This is actually from Bernardo D. Carpio National High School. Sabi dito, sir, according to PSDS Cagape, teachers must monitor the modular students. Yung mga nagmo-modular daw po by calling them. Now, tanong niyo po, sir, my question is, does the school MOOE would shoulder the cell phone load finances? Again po,
Okay.
tanong, this is from
Sige.
Bernardo D. Carpio National High School. According to PSDS Cagape, teachers must monitor the modular students, yung mga batang nag-take ng modules by calling them. My question is, does the school MOOE would shoulder the cell phone load finances? Go ahead, sir.
Okay, before that, as a teacher, it is our mission, di ba? Mission natin to really ensure that the learning that we are teaching is properly absorbed by the students. So it is our responsibility as teacher to monitor kung anong pinagagawa ng mga bata sa kanilang pamamahay. As regards to your question, i-shoulder by gayon ng school ang load ng expenses ng teacher. So based on DepEd Order 77 of 2018, yung communication allowance, only the principals and non-teaching personnel can be provided with that communication allowance. Kung si principal is willing to share his or her allowance to teachers, pwede din. According to Sir Galino, because I called up a while ago, sabi niya, mayroong ipalabas daw na DepEd order as regards to no, pwede gagamitin at imuwi for the cellphone loads. So parang ganito. We have to build partnership. It's now the time for the principal to look into some sponsors with regard to loads, cellphone loads. So since Brigada Eskwela is a year-round activities, why not principal come up with a strategy to look for sponsors for yung mga cellphone loads? As teachers, it is our obligation to really give the best instruction, quality education to our learners. I'm not saying that literally you have to call your students every day. Remember kahit sa Globe o Smarts man dyan, mayroon tayong 100 pesos, unlimited na yun call. Unlimited for 1 week na yan. So, therefore, mayroong maraming paraan. But let us wait for the DepEd order saying na pwede siya i-charge sa MOE. Another strategy is, we have the Principals Association. Pwede si Principal Association mag-write to the Office of the Secretary in case wala pang DepEd order to really fast-track this initiative para talaga mabigyan ng katugunan ang problema ng mga teacher as regards to load. Second, dapat mayroong internal arrangement between the school or between and among the school, the division superintendent, and the COA. Because the COA, siya talaga ang may karapatan magsabi, hindi ito pwede allow. So it depends on the locality, it depends on how COA appreciate or talagang paano itindihin ng COA yung ganyang expenses na yan. So madami. Let's wait for the DepEd order, partnership building, susulat si Principal Association, talagang internal arrangement between and among school, division of superintendent, and the COA. As I said, ang COA talaga may karapatan dito. So therefore, huwag tayong mawala ng pag-asa. Kasi si Principal, mayroon silang percentage of communication allowance. Pwede natin hingiin. Lastly, lahat ng teachers ay nakatanggap kayo ng chalk allowance. Hindi makabibili ng chalk ngayon, no? So, why not, for the time being, gagamitin nyo muna yun para pang text, pang call ng estudyante ninyo. Diba? Simple lang yan. Maraming paraan kung gustuhin ninyo. At maraming dahilan kung ayaw ninyo. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Kagape. Actually, that's our last question for today. And thank you, sir. And I hope, yeah, talagang pero within the 2 questions, sir, talagang mabibigat din ang binigay ng mga teacher natin, ng mga very comprehensive questions na mga, I also have the same question kasi, sir. So hopefully, praying na sana meron na po tayong memo within that budget allocation from our MOE. Of course, COA really is very strict. Pag walang memorandum, wala talagang budget na i-release. Tama po ba, sir?
Okay. How about yung issue about yung sinasabi, pwede ba tayong gagamit ng ibang materials in case na hindi pa makapagbigay ang division office ng mga module? Ang sagot ko dyan, there is no restriction for as long as quality assured yung materials na yan. Yung ating master teachers, ang ating head teachers, sila ang mga experts sa discipline. They can evaluate the materials that you are implementing using this coming August 24. In case worst comes to worst, hindi pa makapagbigay ng materials ang division. But all these materials are all supplementary materials. For as long as you are making a lesson and instructional materials aligning to the most essential learning competency.
Yan. So, kailangan align lahat. Nakapresent lahat. 20 days to go na lang po. Almost 24 na. Countdown na po tayo. So, for those teachers who are watching with us right now, ready na po ba tayo? Hopefully, prepared na ang lahat. And thank you very much, sir, for the time once again. May one more question po tayo na lalabas. And by the way, sir, any message po from our school heads and teachers are watching until right now in this hour? Go ahead po.
Okay, thank you very much to everyone watching from clusters 1 and 3 teachers. Continue watching. Talagang isa-isip, isa puso ninyo lahat ng mga topics na inyong napakinggan sa ating mga speakers kasi these are all things that are really needed when you start conducting your classes. So especially tomorrow na meron tayong simulation, tingnan ninyo kung paano talaga magkandak ng klase yung teacher from different disciplines, online or modular man. So therefore, huwag kayong bumitiw. Kailangan kayong alerto kayo, focus kayo kasi una-una mayroon tayong mga surprise na mga, 'di ba? Mga giveaways. So yung mga modem na 'yan. Tapos ay importante talaga alam ninyo kung paano niyo gagamitin yung LMS natin for online learning modalities at saka yung modular natin. Kasi ito talaga ang pinaka-core natin. Ang pinaka-core ng lahat ng mga teachers is the module. Yan ang gagamitin kung anumang modalities ang i-prepare ng ating mga estudyante. Yung ating module, see to it that our modules that we are using are quality assured. So dito sa ating Division of Davao City, ang LRMDS lang talaga ang may karapatan to check whether or not the module, the materials that we are using are of quality.
So, kasi 'di ba sir, napaka definite yung rules when it comes to copyright infringement
Yes.
and also the details kung tama po ba lahat ng mga nilalagay natin sa mga modules natin, ano po? Right? So, once again, thank you very much, Dr. Winifredo Igagape, our Public Schools District Supervisor for Clusters 1 and 3. Daghang kayong salamat, sir, for your time.
Salamat, Kristen Cabahog. Congratulations, Tintin.
Daghang
Job
salamat,
well done.
sir.
Okay.
Arigato gozaimasu. Okay, thank you very much po. All right. So at this point, by the way, tomorrow, reminders, during the third day of this week-long training, we will be having our LMS simulation as said by our PSDS from the selected teachers of the junior high school and the senior high school. Our simulation is actually very unique because we will be involving actual learners within the simulation day. Also, we will be having simulations for both junior high school and the senior high school, and as well as the breakout session. So if you can remember during the DTOT, may mga kanya-kanyang links po tayong papasukan when it comes to our simulation. And we will be providing as well the YouTube links for the senior high school LMS simulation. Again, bukas makakasama po natin si Mr. Clyde Saludar ng Bernardo D. Carpio National High School para sa ating plenary session. And si Sir Clyde po ang magiging moderator ng Junior High School LMS Simulation. By the way, para naman po sa Senior High School Simulation ay magkakasama po natin si Sir Jamaico Magayo. By the way, for the information of everybody, again, thank you very much for our education program supervisors for providing all our materials. And going back to our presentation, and you also like to thank the leaders who really gave their time and effort, especially our school heads from clusters 1 and 3. We have from cluster 1, Ma'am Evelyn E. Magno, Principal 4 of Davao City National High School, Ma'am Josephine A. Basilio, Assistant Principal 2 of Emilia Ramos National High School. We also have Ma'am Jocelyn Alcima Franca, Principal 2 of Erico Tino Gales National High School. Alright. By the way, may surprise tayo mga kaibigan. At this juncture, eto na, yung pinakahihintay ko, we'll be listening to a message from one of our most hardworking, empowering, and versatile Chief of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, or CLMD, of the Department of Education, Region 11. Live po natin siya makakasama ngayon on screen. She's none other than Dr. Janet G. Veloso, CSE. Hello and good afternoon, Ma'am Janet.
Good afternoon, everyone. Huling kami ngayon sa high school.
Oh, traveling pala si Ma'am ngayon. Medyo choppy po ang line natin, Ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, naka-feed kami ngayon sa monitoring ng dry run ng buong Rion 11. Oo.
Wow.
So,
Go ahead, ma'am.
yes. Ayan, maririnig ba ako, Christine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear po. Naririnig po namin kayo. Go ahead, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Oo. Yes, Christine. So, sa ating mga teachers at sa lahat ng participants ng inyong class training, alam ko that this is an offshoot of your division training of trainers at napagandaan at I appreciated from the top management of the division of Davao City and up to the team that are actually making this or organizing the cluster training possible for your cluster, specifically for the group of schools under this cluster. I really appreciated the PSDS, Sir Kagape, of course, at saka yung ating tinatawag na mga kaguruan na naging bahagi ng ganito na pagsasanay. For all you know, naka-field kami ngayon, entire region, for the evaluation or monitoring ng ating mga schools that have participated for the dry run. And I appreciated that our schools, even though that we are not so, I believe that all of us are new in this kind of strategy and modality, but I am very happy because you have continued your trust to the Department of Education that we can do it even with the time that we are always catching up, especially in our self-learning modules, our learning management system to be ready for our virtual classes, and also particularly for the online learning. And also this modality that you are that the management is giving to you is that not only that you will be prepared for the new normal, but for you to be able to appreciate that there is something that we really need to level up. Even if COVID or without COVID, we have to really lift up to or pole vault. Ito ang tatawagin natin pole vault our skills so that we would be ready for the digital rise. And one thing that I'd like to really share with you is that the schools that we have visited here in Davao de Oro, and I'm sure that the same scenario also is happening to a lot of schools now, that our teachers are really super human. Why I'm saying that? Because we have a lot of creativity and we are doing it now. And even with some probably meager resources, but with your enthusiasm to really grasp all the things that are necessary for us to be ready, you are doing it. And much more that you have invested so much of your time. Nakakaya nga kanina when I prompted your technical team na pwede pa bang humabol because I was not able to really catch up your opening program. I was at the very peak of Maragusan place. I was in Bahi Elementary School, and so in that school, really the most appropriate modality is radio-based, but it is trompa. No, it's trompa. It's not the transmitter that or radio transmission that the usual we have in the urban area. So it's something na very unique kasi ang lahat ng mga sitio doon, meron silang trompa. So with that kind of synergy that the people in the far place are doing, that would be the same thing that we should reflect on, that not just that you are fortunate that you are well endowed in Davao City, but because you have a lot of opportunity to be able to make your learners happy and more appreciative of the kind of environment that we have now. And with that kind of uh, shall we say, valuing that you are going to exude, or shall we say, radiate to your learners by your preparation now, we are assured that the Sulong Edukalidad is really will continue as planned and as conceptualized by our agency. And that gusto kong sabay-sabay kayo sa akin na at least man lang kahit sa closing na to, sabihin natin na handang isip, handa bukas. Pwede ba? Sabayan mo ako, Christine? At ganoon din sa mga nakikinig. No, sabihin natin na handang isip, handa bukas, Davao Region, handang-handa. Ayan. So, dagdagan natin,
Okay,
Davao Region, handang-handa. Sige, pwede ba? Sabayan natin.
Okay,
Sige,
after
1, 2, 3. Handang isip,
handang bukas,
handang isip, handang bukas, Davao Region, handang-handa. Ayan.
handang-handa na.
No? Yes, Davao Region, handang-handa. So, thank you
ulitin na lang
talaga.
ako.
Thank you.
Wow.
Maraming, sige, ulitin natin uli. Ulitin
Wow,
natin
isa pa,
uli.
isa pa, isa pa.
Sige daw.
Sigurado tayo.
Sige. Isa pa. Okay.
1, 2,
Okay.
3.
2, 3. Handang isip, handa bukas.
Bukas. Davao Region.
Davao Region, handang-handa. Ayan. So, thank you very much sa lahat. At congratulations to the team of PSDS Kagape and the team of Christine together with the technical. Tsaka si Sir Eugene Dorado, thank you for prompting me. At saka lahat ng mga guro. God bless. And more training to come, particularly for you to be able to really adjust to the kind of responsibility that you are going to do for the school year 2021. Ayan. So, maraming salamat. God bless and bye-bye.
Right. Bye, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time, Ma'am Janet G. Veloso, CESE, the Chief of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division of DepEd Region 11, for giving us that very heartwarming message. Inuulit ko lang, nasa flash screen, handang isip, handang bukas, Davao Region, handang-handa na. Okay. By the way, everybody, our CLMD Chief is actually on the travel as at the moment, monitoring schools out within Davao Region. So if you can imagine distance far away from Aragusan all the way to Davao City, she's really tried her best to communicate for us in this, to grace in this second day of our cluster training on teachers on the learning management system. Once again, thank you very much to our afternoon speakers, Dr. Roel Alvarez, Principal 4 of Santa Ana National High School, Ma'am Jenny Pearl Nino Nuevo, Head Teacher 3 of the ESP Department of Davao City National High School, Ma'am Janet Nusa, Assistant Principal 2 of Communal National High School, Sir Romeo Ticar, of School Head of Pablo Lorenzo National High School. We also like to thank Dr. Roberto Arbinag, Principal 1 of Gorgonio Tahoe Senior National High School, and of course, Sir Edmond Soperada, Head Teacher 3 of Davao City National High School, Special Program in VR, sorry for that. And of course, we would like to thank our very supportive and ito talaga siya talaga sumasagot sa mga tanong natin from the Padlet, Dr. Winifredo E. Cagape, our Public Schools District Supervisor of Clusters 1 and 3. And we will be flashing the YouTube link right now for tomorrow morning's session. It will be flashed on the screen. Andyan na po. Kindly flash it na. Ayan na. Running in the screen at the moment. That's day 3 morning session. Allow me to read. It's https://www.youtube.com/watch V equals, yan may equal sign siya, 5 capital A1, capital DR, S60, capital TR, and capital M. Ayan. Kung hindi nyo man nahabol dahil sobrang mataas yung link, screenshot po tayo and isasend na lang po natin sa kanya-kanyang mga group chats. And by the way, for our YouTube link for tomorrow's morning session will also be given to your school head. So huwag kayo mag-alala. Automatic po yan. Generate ang link. And once you click it, you're good to go. Okay, for our day 2 evaluation, may evaluation na po ba tayo, controller? Okay, so while waiting for that, ito yung pinakamahalaga sa lahat. We would like to know your suggestions, recommendations as to what transpired within this day for day 2 of the cluster training on the learning management system. Ayan, we already have the evaluation day 2, https:/bit.ly/3k5 capital E, I, S, and letter G. Okay, paki-screenshot na lang po, school heads. My dear school heads, ayan, ready na rin po ang link. Paki-share na link po. Okay. At this moment, time check, it's already 4:30 in the afternoon and we have finally come to the end of our day 2 training. And in everything we do, we always begin and end with a prayer. And by the way, everybody, may I request everyone to please bow down our heads and feel the presence of our Lord. Father, we praise and glorify your holy name. We want to thank you for being with us throughout this day 2 cluster training of teachers on the learning management system. Your presence has been in this place from the start to the end, and we want to say thank you, Lord, from the bottom of our hearts. Lord, as we end this webinar, let us go out there and be the salt and light of your precious children. May we also put into practice what we have discussed and learned for this day and onwards. Help us to make a difference in this world for the glory of your name. Lord, where we drifted and said things that do not bring glory to your name, we ask you for your forgiveness. In Jesus' name, we believe and pray. Amen. All right. And that ends our day 2 of the cluster training of teachers on the learning management system of the Department of Education, Division of Davao City for clusters 1 and 3. The training manager for tomorrow, day 3 again, August 5, 2020, will be Ma'am Maribeth A. Alcordo, School Head of Bernardo D. Carpio National High School, and the moderator will be Sir Clyde Saludar. Once again, this is Christine Joy C. Cabahog of Davao City National High School under Cluster 1. At dahil education must continue, tara, sama-sama sa pagsulong ng edukalidad, addressing the challenge of quality in basic education. Hashtag Sulong Edukalidad, hashtag Abante, cluster 1 and 3. To God be the glory. And I'm now counting down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.